Mario, and who do I got with me here?
Devin, aka Paranoid Coder.
And Devin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
That is fantastic. I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate that. And what are we doing here today?
Doing a little bit of mod chat.
A little bit of mod chat?
A little bit of podcasting.
Okay. Yeah, doing it all. Trying to, at least.
Having a good time.
Yes.
Trying our best.
Yes, for sure. How's it been going with you?
It's been good. It's been crazy. You know a lot about my life. Like over the last month, I've been moving. I've been doing a lot of stuff. Work's been busy. Been working on some exciting but heavy projects. But yeah, overall pretty good.
Right on. Yeah, no. Congratulations on the move, by the way.
Thank you.
No problem.
Still getting settled in. Still trying to unpack. Still trying to organize. But you know,
yeah,
it's the process we go through. How about you, man? Anything new and exciting in your life?
Just making all these videos, having a fun time and all that. I'm actually taking my first day off of work here in a few days that I've had this year because I enjoy my job, but I'm getting to the point I'm like, I need even a day break because now it's getting to the point there's just many days I wake up, I'm like, I'm not depressed, but
yeah,
I'd like to sleep in for another hour.
I'm going on vacation starting Tuesday.
Nice.
Through the weekend. So obviously it's going to be, the following week.
Sure.
Not this week that we're in right now. But yeah, I'm ready for my vacation. I'm ready to have a good time.
Fantastic.
Hanging out with family, the girlfriend. So,
That is awesome.
Cannot complain.
That is awesome.
Stoked.
Yeah. Tell me about the vacation after the show.
Yeah.
I need to hear about this.
We'll do it. I'll tell you about it more when I get back. I need to, I need to go experience it.
That
first.
works out too. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give you the deets.
Probably the better thing to do. But yeah, one thing, we ended up trying this, I guess just jumping in here, before we even get into the topics themselves, we had tried this last episode, and I figured, we could try it again if the audience is cool with that. But Devin, has there been any mods in the last month or so that you've messed around with?
I had a couple things on my list that I wanted to get to that I didn't, but I did. I don't know if you consider this in the realm, maybe, probably, but I've been working a bit on my Hackintosh. So
I'll take it. I'll accept that. All right. Yeah. What have you been doing with your Hackintosh?
So, brief overview of Hackintoshing for people that aren't aware. Hackintoshing is basically taking a regular old PC that would run Windows or maybe Linux if that fits your fancy, and getting macOS to run on it. So unlicensed, non-Apple hardware running macOS. I've been doing that for a while now, but I've had a few bugs here and there that I wasn't super happy with, and I ended up updating it and actually figuring out a routine to update it. Because once you get things set up, it's not really as simple as just updating your operating system anymore. There's a custom bootloader that even gets macOS to run. There's what they call kernel extensions, which are basically, drivers for all your hardware and stuff like that, because macOS isn't going to support all your hardware, your networking card and all this other stuff. So I've been kind of working on that. It's running better than ever, and I have a routine to kind of keep it updated and keep it clean. So,
very nice.
Yeah, I don't know if this eventually may be something I want to talk about, whether it's kind of like some kind of a blog post or some kind of a video going over it or something like that.
Do both.
Yeah. But
do a video showing this stuff and then do a blog write-up. That'd be cool.
Right. But it's something that, there's a lot of information out there, but you're not going to get like a Hackintosh hacks.guide style thing.
Why not?
I wish. That. Well, that's what I'm saying. But then I think about going into it and I'm like, I don't know if I can do that either. I think part of it is just that every single hardware build is very different. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of personal troubleshooting you have to go into.
And the thing is with Hackintosh, from what I understand, I've never set it up, but from what I understand, it's that once you get the hardware, assuming your hardware works, the hardware is compatible with the software, but not directly natively. So that's where the Hackintosh part comes in, because you have to actually modify the macOS operating system in a way to get it to work with the hardware that it's supposed to work with in the first place.
It's gotten better and better over the years, but yeah, that's basically it. But I would run into some weird issues where it's like if my computer went to sleep, it would wake up and wouldn't have any sound. Various little weird, quirky things, that you wouldn't experience. But as of right now, it's running basically like a native Mac. I've even got it kind of all the continuity and handoff features between my iPhone and the computer working well. So, I can airdrop files over Wi-Fi from my iPhone to the Mac or the Hackintosh pretty seamlessly. Do a lot of pretty neat stuff. iMessage and all that works. So it's running pretty well. And for those wondering, one of the main reasons why I do this is that I have a MacBook for work, and I do all my development on Mac OS at work, and so it's nice to be able to come home to. And if I work from home, I can get on my actual computer and not be hunched over a laptop. So just having everything on the same operating system makes things real fluid. Right. So yeah, it's the majority of what I've been doing, and I set up Plex. Not really modding related.
I love Plex so much. We just talked about this.
Yeah.
I love it. But.
Not really modding related, but kind of off the beaten path just a little bit.
I don't know if anyone else experiences this. If you're in the live chat, let me know. But one of my favorite things with Plex was just getting it tuned just the way I liked it and getting the subtitles there. And there's something so therapeutic about going through and setting up my library and my collections and all that the way it was. So the first few weeks where I was just adding a bunch of content and setting it up on Plex, a lot of my enjoyment was just from organizing the stuff. It was just so therapeutic to me.
I'll have to maybe get some tips from you. I haven't really actually dove too deep into it, but I was really impressed with, we used a product called VideoStream before.
We did. Yes, you got me onto VideoStream.
Right, and that was much more simple, much more just, I don't know how else to explain, but really bare bones in what it could do. And I would get stuff where some TV shows would get broken up. It would be it would look like 3 different shows, and each season would be its own show. I had a lot of weird library issues that I never figured out how to deal with. Plex seems to have handled that all very, very well. Everything seems to be extremely organized, labeled correctly. So I would be curious to hear some of your tips. Subtitles isn't something I have really gotten into, but I wouldn't mind. Don't mind some subtitles.
Plex does do some kind of fucky things, I guess, for lack of better terms. By the time I got into Plex, it seemed like I was kind of getting into the point where a lot of people were complaining, oh, the layout's not as good, and they're doing all this other stuff, and they're messing with this, and they're
updates for previous versions.
Yeah, one of the controversial things they did is they're removing plugin support. Right now at this point they have hidden it, so if you're a power user you can modify it and put the plugins on, but they are saying that at one point they are going to sunset plugins completely. They've changed layouts. I'm okay with the layout, but a lot of people hate the new layouts on the players. I think it's one of those things where for me at the time I came in, because I don't know what I'm missing, I don't mind it.
Yeah, and I'm not for sure, but I believe I actually heard someone on a Linux-based podcast say that Plex was had open source components to it, and I think they're locking those down. I don't know if it's all of it, but maybe that's part of the reason why plugin support's gone away. I'm not totally sure, but I've definitely heard some changes. But like you, I've come into this late in the game compared to other people, and I'm fine with the layout. I'm fine with the way it's worked. It's definitely served its purpose, but I don't, you know me. I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't watch a lot of TV. In fact, a big part of the reason why I ended up doing this was so that I could enable my girlfriend to watch movies and stuff like that when she's at work. You know what I mean? So if she's on her break, she can just fire it up.
It is amazing how many workplaces just don't block Plex.
Yeah. And it also keeps a little bit better track. VideoStream wouldn't really keep track of what shows I had watched.
VideoStream, I will say, is super awesome if you're in this position. You have your computer, you have a video file that you want to cast somewhere right now, and it's just okay, open up Chrome, install VideoStream plugin, drag and drop your file on there, and then it casts to your TV. That's what it's good for, but using it as a main video player, I tried that for a while. A lot of videos I watched had issues and such. That's really what annoyed me. With Plex, I have yet to run into videos that I have issues with.
Yeah, and I never really had any.
It just busts through everything.
But I also, like I just said, do not watch as much content as you probably do. So maybe I just didn't run into some of the issues. But yeah, Plex has been going great. So it's kind of.
I just used it right before you came. I was watching Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's how I was relaxing.
Yeah, I need to get me some Ed, Ed, and Eddie, man.
Oh man, I love it.
I recently got most of the seasons of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh my god,
that was a good throwback.
That is a great show to watch.
Yeah. But anyways, what about you? Have you done anything modding related?
I have, yeah. I've done a few things I wanted to talk about, and I even wrote up a little list here. I'm going to keep this a little bit brief because these are things that we can talk about as we get into some of the threads here and such. But one of the things is the PS3Xploit tools that came out. They released new tools for firmware 4.84 on the PS3, so I got a lot of experience messing with those. I got to, set up Han again on my Super Slim. I re-jailbroke and jailbroke several of my fat PS3s that I have. Just got an overall feel for the new tools, and they work great so far.
Very nice.
I want to save my compliments for later because I have a lot of good things to say, but that's one of our topics here. One other thing I did, last podcast where we talked about the Switch stuff we did.
Yep.
Yeah, I ended up finally got Atmosphere properly set up on my Switch, and it is 0.87, and I will say that the scene is just moving insanely fast on there.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like anything will change day to day, and we're going to be looking into some of the Atmosphere stuff as well too. But I'm happy I have it. But one thing I talked with you about is this is the injector I use, the NS Atmosphere, and it works. But the problem is I kind of hit a little bit of a brick wall, and I ended up ordering the RCM loader. It hasn't come in yet, but I ordered it because I'm like, damn it, I'm tired of just sticking with one payload. Because I told you before, I was using SXOS just to get a feel for it, see how it was and everything. And I was like, well, I want to try out some other homebrew and such. Like, I want to try RetroArch, and they're recommending, hey, you should do this and use these cores through Atmosphere. So let me set this up on here. But the problem is you can only flash one payload onto here at a time. And it's not just simple copy and paste like other loaders. It's you have to actually download a proper application, and then you have to take the bin file, and it erases the chip on here, and then it flashes it, and then it verifies it. But I'm just like, damn it, I want to switch between firmwares on the fly. Like, I want to have everything available to me, and I can't do that with this.
So you're still using SXOS a little bit too?
A little bit, but not nearly as much. I was really just using it to like dump my games that I have.
Yeah.
But now at this point, now that I'm starting to venture more into the homebrew and emulators, I'm like, yeah, cool. I want to do Atmosphere, and I haven't messed with reNX in months and months. So once I have a multi-loader, it'll give me a better excuse to have everything on there. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Very cool.
By the way, have you looked inside this thing?
You've shown me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Because when I'm just like idle, I'll just kind of like sit here and start ripping the thing apart. And I mean, it looks like a little city on the inside. I like it.
It does. It looks like they have so much wasted space.
I know. That's the other thing too. I looked at this and I'm like, I'm not an engineer, but
yeah,
this can be done better and smaller.
Yeah. But I mean, it's, if it works, and these probably some Chinese company can crank it out at mass scale really quickly.
If it fits, it sits.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Why take time to optimize it if it works? And obviously, it doesn't really need to be that small. I mean, it's nice for just carrying it around like your bag.
Well, I was going to say, it doesn't even need to be this big.
No, I'm saying in general. It doesn't, you're not getting that much benefit about it being half the size. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, if we can make it this size for this cost, let's make it this size, because you're not really like losing a lot.
Speaking of the cost on these, I don't know off the top of my head because I haven't looked it up, like how much these take to manufacture. But I was telling you, I was like, there has to be such a high markup on these, because this little thing, it's just, a little small board that has USB Type-C on there, and it loads up a file that is flashed onto it. This cannot be that much to produce at all, like $1 or $2 at most, and they're selling these for an average of about $15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they could probably even crank it up just a little bit if they wanted to.
$15-$20, yeah.
I'm sure there's more of them. You mentioned another one.
There's
I've seen
so
a couple
many
of different loaders. So yeah, the market's going to bring it down at this point. So, but it's neat. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah. It's cool stuff. I see Killamod's here. He's saying, yeah, every time I watch ModChat, I can't take my eyes off that PS2. Killamod's on our Discord server. He's always showing us like the cool PS2 installs and like case swaps he's doing. So I can imagine he would want to really case swap this thing. But I don't know if he would even want to, because it's, one of the white PS2s. But I just know that's his thing. And if you haven't joined the Discord server, check out the link down below in the description here on YouTube. And we have a whole lot of fun times there.
I really need to hang out more often in there. I'm not really in any like chat rooms of any kind anymore. I used to be in a lot of IRC rooms when I was, probably like late junior high, early high school. But yeah, man, I just so busy. I can't get myself to just sit there.
No, I understand.
I hardly have time to just like sit at my computer these days.
And I'm the opposite. I'm trying to not have my free time be just in front of the computer. So I actually need to schedule free time. Like, okay, tonight I'm going to do PS4.
Yeah. Oh, dude. My girlfriend and I got a gym membership, and we've been working out a ton.
Nice.
It's been good stuff.
Nice.
So that's also what I've been doing a lot this month.
I actually took up running. starting about a week ago, because I kind of took it as an optimization effort, because I'm like, okay, when I take Lily outside, I know this is kind of venturing off topic, but she wants to sniff everything, so we don't really walk successfully. So when she's running, she doesn't have the opportunity to sniff everything, and I get more distance in less time. So I've been running with her every day, and it's been great. She's enjoyed it too. But yeah, the last modding related thing I did was I had just a stack of original Xboxes that were sitting in my office earlier this month. And I said, you know what, I had some reasons for them. So I said, you know what, I'm going to have to refurbish a few of these. I'm going to work on some stuff. I'm going to do a few things. And it ended up taking about a week for me just after work every night, just working through them. Because then I started really liking what I was doing, and I was doing videos. And so I have a ton more content on that as well, too, that I need to cut up and do things on and such. And maybe even a product to look into. But near the end, I even had like 1 or 2 Xboxes that were just sitting there. And I was like, I don't have a goal for these right now, but while I'm here, I might as well rip them up, clean them, refurbish them, and hard mod them. So all of my Xboxes now have been restored, which makes me feel better.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So big endeavor, but it was really fun at the same time to do.
Very nice.
Yeah.
You have too many.
I know, man. It's a sickness.
Do you really have a plan for all those?
Eventually. No, some of them I have plans for. Some of them I have video plans for that I've either done or plan on doing. And then others, it's just like, it was $5.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, should we get moving on?
Yes, we should.
Get into some real topics?
Yes, we should.
All right.
Yeah.
So I know that our first topic here on the list is something that I guess, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty neat. You probably know just a tad bit more than I do. You have more PS Vita experience than I. But I do think, I looked into it, and I think it's really freaking cool. Mm-hmm. So it looks like TheFloW has come out with some more news. He kind of has a 3.69, 3.70.
He not only did a PSA, he did a ETA win on this.
Which is pretty impressive, yeah. So just to get it out of the way, 6 to 8 weeks. We're looking to see
at the time of that recording. So, at the time of this was released.
Right.
So we're looking at it.
I actually didn't look at the.
It was March 30th. So right now, TheFloW is saying that the estimated time of arrival for the 3.70 PS Vita Exploit chain is going to be the second half of May of this year.
Right. So yeah, I mean, really not that far away, especially with how long we've waited for some of these things.
And that's why I'm trying to do, I plan to have a video out about this as well, and I want to cover this on the podcast, not only as news, but just to signal boost it. So anyone, if you're watching this right now, and you have a 3.70 PS Vita or a 3.69 PS Vita, and you want to modify it, this is, the links are going to be down below, in the show notes once this is done being streamed. But in short, he is saying here that this consists of a PSP emulator escape, meaning that it's going to be using a PSP game that you download. It can be any PSP game, free or paid. It could even be demos, or it can be a PSP mini game. But it cannot be a PS1 classic, so PSP or PSP mini game. So because of this, he's saying, hey, look, I want to drop this exploit chain, but we need to work together as a community. So if you want one, you need to do some prep work. And essentially what you need to do is update to 3.70, add a PlayStation Network account to your Vita if you haven't already, register your Vita to that account, and then download any PSP or PSP mini game. Doesn't matter what it is, download any game from the PlayStation Store, make sure it runs, and then back it up using the application QCMA.
It's worth noting that PS1 classics that originally ran on the PSP don't count.
Yes. Yep, just drilling that in, because the PS1 classics technically run on the emulated PSP on the Vita, but they don't count here. So then doing this is really easy, but just backing that up, and then at that point, it's just wait. So again, big PSA to anybody who wants to mod their Vita that is on 3.69 or 3.70. Get yourself a PSP game, back it up using QCMA, then don't remove your PSN account, don't deactivate that Vita, and don't remove the PSP game. Just wait. Your job is to wait until late March.
It's also
second half of May, excuse me, not March.
It's also worth noting that even a demo will work. So if you can find a free demo in your region, that's going to be fine. So you don't need to go out and like spend money if you have something available.
Yeah, so in the UK and European Union, he's recommending ApeQuest. For North America, he's recommending Loco Roco Midnight Carnival, and for Japan, he's recommending Ease 7. Those are free demos that you can download that work perfectly well with this. But again, even if you just want to buy a PSP game that you want to play, such as like Retro City Rampage, it'll work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's about all we know with this so far. So for anybody who's asking for more details or this or that, literally all we have is this.
Right. And I don't know if you've used QCMA before.
I did,
but
last night actually.
It looks like a lot of it could be like save data related, perhaps. Maybe there's something along that. I mean, we've seen save data exploits in a lot of different consoles. So who knows what it's actually going to be?
It could possibly be, but he's saying here, download and install QCMA to make a backup of your game. He's not mentioning the saves. He's only mentioning the game. So I have a feeling it's going to be a way of infecting the game, so to speak, on your computer and then restoring that backup to your Vita. That's what I feel like it's going to be.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, having it like actually work on the PSP emulator and then breaking out from there, which I'm sure Sony put specific measures in place so that wouldn't be easy to, make happen, considering how exploited the PSP was in the first place. I think it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing I wanted to mention here, I don't know, I haven't seen if a name was decided, but he did say he was looking for a cool exploit name. So
I think one thing he was thinking of on Twitter was Trinity in there, because he said technically it's 3 pieces of a chain. So that would be cool. But yeah, one thing also, just for the flow's sake, that I'll put out here, I'd like to read, the very last thing he put on this PSA. And he said here, last but not least, I would like to ask you a favor. If you're following me on Twitter only for PS Vita news, please stop liking, retweeting, commenting to tweets of mine that are not related to PS Vita. The reason is I am planning to use Twitter more professionally in InfoSec. There were so many times when I had conversations with people that got interrupted with 3.70 hack win. I know this is partly my fault since I didn't give you an exact ETA, but that's because I have got my own real life. I'd said I'd release the hack somewhen in 2019, such that I do not put myself in too much pressure, as I am currently studying and working on my bachelor's thesis. I never asked you to praise me or look at me as a god or whatever, but the disrespect of some people nearly kills my motivation. If this doesn't stop, I might completely stop working on the PS Vita. So that's one thing, just, as a PSA and just as an exchange. He'll give this to you all. He's just asking, don't bug him on Twitter about stuff.
Yeah, and I wonder if I were him, I'd create a second account, you know what I mean?
But then the problem is you'd have people that would hit you up on both accounts.
Well, I guess it depends on, like, your goals, right? It sounds like almost more like he was... I don't know. It depends on what you want. Are you trying to not be known? Like, are you trying to use it for like a normal Twitter thing? If so, maybe like you don't need to necessarily tie the two. If you're trying to be like a normal person, you know what I mean? Trying to use Twitter for normal reasons where you're not semi-famous.
I personally don't think it's that. I think it's just he wants to talk about Vita stuff when he's tweeting about Vita stuff. But if he's like, let's say he's tweeting to you about some InfoSec related thing, he doesn't want to be interrupted in the middle of it of, hey, ETA win. Devin, can you ask when ETA is?
Yeah, I still think you probably should use a separate account.
That might be good too, but
because it's one of those things.
Look,
like
I'll respect his wishes on that, and I'm just signal boosting it out there.
Sure, that's good.
Please chill.
It's good.
All right.
I agree. I don't,
leave the flow alone.
Definitely, everyone should do their best, but it's also like we've seen this for as long as I've been in the scene.
Yeah.
So
you're not wrong. So.
Well, should we give a shout out here?
Absolutely. Yeah. We got Katsu Kyogen, I believe that's how you say his name, still on the cruise, just dropping in to say hello. And thank you so much for that.
Man, you're on a cruise?
Yeah, he's on a cruise. Man. That would actually explain, I think, I'm pretty sure he told us and I kind of forgot. He's a regular on the Discord server. And I was even thinking, I was like, I haven't seen him in a while. But yeah, no, he's just having a life. Look at us. We're just sitting here streaming.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I got vacation soon.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to be out on the sea. Well, not on a boat.
Yeah.
But
Gotta love it.
That's awesome, man. Congrats and thank you. I'm sure that you're probably spending some money on the cruise, so I appreciate the dollars floating our way.
Yes, the $2 donation. We appreciate that. It goes towards worthwhile stuff, like this table, for example.
Everything helps.
Yes.
It's very awesome.
Everything helps.
We're going to start thinking about the next investment, too.
Yeah.
There's always got to be something to upgrade.
Yeah, although, as I said, I'm pretty happy with where we're at now, thankfully. We got, the microphone set up. We got the desktop here. We got the lighting, the camera, and everything. And I can tell people this. So I ended up, I finally tried out Arctic's MX4 thermal paste for the first time. And I ended up repasting this desktop that I'm using because I got this desktop that we're streaming on for free. And I cleaned it, but I didn't repaste it because your boy was lazy. And this thing would sound like a jet engine at times, but I repasted it, and oh my goodness, this thing won't get loud anymore. No matter what I do, it won't get loud. It's so great. So repaste your shit. That's what I can recommend to people.
I need to.
Yeah.
Eventually. Yeah, I've had my PC for almost 4 years now.
That's fine. Some people are like, oh, you need to repaste every 6 or 12 months. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
I mean, I did do it myself when I did it with some higher quality paste.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what brand it was, but I remember I didn't cheap out. But it's been that long, so probably would be worth doing it again.
Yeah.
And Tristan coming in hot with his $2. He said he had it ready.
Yes.
He's no liar. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Tristan. It's awesome.
Yeah, Tristan Leonard, thank you so much for the $2. And he's saying, got to get mine in here, just dropping in. So yeah, very much appreciate that.
Yeah. Hopefully both of you guys can stick around for the whole thing, but especially with you, Katsu, Kyogen, you got to get back to the cruise. I understand.
Are there seriously 2 people watching this from a cruise? Geekest Fox is saying, I'm on a cruise too, Katsu. Everyone's on a... We're the only people who aren't on a cruise.
It's season. It's that season, man.
Is it really?
I don't know. It's good weather. So
I've never been on a cruise, so I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like it. Would you go on a cruise in the winter?
No.
When like the weather's starting to get good?
Okay, Devin, I would go somewhere that has nice weather and then go on the cruise. But I'm almost a little nervous about going on a cruise because I don't know if I'll have, like major anxiety or, hardcore seasickness or what. Like, I don't know because I've never been on a cruise.
I don't think.
But I've been on boats and I've been fine.
Yeah. I've like fallen asleep on a boat before, like a small, like a pontoon style boat, like water rocking. Like, I do not get seasick, which is very nice.
That's good.
Yeah. People in my family do. People in my family get like car sick and seasick, and like, so I'm very thankful for that.
I'll only get car sick if like I notice I don't get car sick in the front, but if I'm in the back seat and we're doing like a lot of like this action, like, stopping and starting and kind of doing this, I start to get seasick.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Oh my God. And another donation here from, from Nicholas Lovin. Oh no, I have a bank account now for $5. Nick, thank you. But dude,
save your monies.
No, because I know with Nick, he was thinking of buying some stuff and I'm like, just save your money, man. But we appreciate it.
It is. Yeah. I mean, seriously, you guys don't know how much, like, I mean, it blows my mind just, even getting a couple dollars. So
big love. Yeah.
Big love.
For sure. Big love. I've been saying that a lot. So.
But all right, before we get another donation, let's try to get at least one more story in.
Yes. This isn't a story, man. This is a fact here.
Right here, a release,
yes,
if you will.
We got a release. You want to cover this?
I can start it off.
Go ahead.
Basically, the Dark Souls inspired homebrew for the PS Vita.
The one we talked about last month, yeah.
Yeah, so
it was, by
Vita
Hex.
And there was a Patreon going for it for like, early builds and some exclusive content for it. But now it looks like it's released to the public.
It is.
So it's definitely being labeled as alpha still. But it's pretty sweet. So I don't know if you know if a lot has changed from what we saw, but this is the first publicly playable thing. Here in the notes, it says that the frame rate floats around 25 frames per second, although recently my Vita, so I don't know if this was... Okay, Holy McDiver.
Yes.
This is the person who wrote on Wololo. He's saying that his Vita goes below a little bit, but he thinks his Vita's been acting up. So probably I'd guess around 25 frames per second. Controls may be a bit confusing, but I don't know. I've never played Dark Souls, so you can tell me maybe if the controls on there are confusing. But
I haven't really played Dark Souls either. But I myself, last night, I did try this game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And it's really awesome that this, like, when I was playing it, I'm like, I can't believe this is on the Vita here. It is very much alpha, like, to the point where you you start at the beginning. There's no checkpoints. There's no saving. When you die, you just start back at the beginning. It does run at about 25 frames per second, so it's not like it's, a performance powerhouse by any means. And I did question, because you can overclock the Vita. I didn't do this, but I kind of wondered whether overclocking it would really increase the performance all that much, but I'm also not too worried about it because it is an alpha. But again, for what it is for a homebrew alpha, it's really awesome. Yeah. And I am not a challenging game player person, so I died at like the first big enemy, and I was like, that's it for me. I'm good. I'm not trying to get pissed off. But big thanks to, VitaHex Games for working on this. I even told them on Twitter, I said, this is really awesome for a homebrew alpha game. I am not awesome at it, but I very much respect this.
Well, and also, I mean, if it's like Dark Souls is infamous for being really hard.
Yes. That's the whole point of it. Get good.
I'm kind of there with you. Games have a certain level of like frustration, and if they give me that much, that like I will bow out. I'm in it, especially with my lack of time these days. I'm in it to have fun.
Yeah.
Which is also why I still enjoy playing Pokemon. It's not that hard, but it's fun, and I enjoy it. Now, you did mention that there are no checkpoints, saves, or anything like that right now. They did mention that they're working on these elements, and they're going to slowly trickle in with future updates. So this is probably not going to be a permanent thing. No idea when that's going to happen. No ETA on this one.
No ETA when.
But it's very likely we'll see them in the future.
Yeah.
So good job to you guys. I can't wait to see more stuff coming out. And I would love to give it a try on your Vita sometime.
I got it on my Vita. I'll fire it up for you.
Yeah.
It's cool so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe next time. This next month. Well, like, we can fit it in. I mean, I'm going to be on vacation for like a week. But
okay.
We got to figure out time. I'd say sooner than later this next month to figure out some time to have another mod party.
I'd be down.
Knock some ish out.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
All right. Should we move on to the next one?
Yes, we should.
REVita
is
having a PS Vita Game Jam.
Yes.
2019 Game Jam.
I wanted to ask you, have you ever participated in a Game Jam?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think every time like something like that came up in the homebrew community, I just didn't have enough confidence, and I don't think I would have like done really well. I mean, I'm sure it would be fun, but and now it's like not something that I've really participated in as a professional. I'm not involved in enough communities like that are doing things like that. So no, but I think it's cool. I think it's great for the community.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is, I don't know if we have anyone on the podcast who's listening right now, but if you are a homebrew developer on the Vita, or you want to be a homebrew developer, this is your chance to work on a homebrew game, submit it, and possibly get money from this. You can get money off something that you would be doing for free.
So there's $500 that is being given away in total. That's not for the first place person. We have the prices down here somewhere.
Yeah, I want to say here it is...
It's $250 for first, $150 for second, and $100 for third place.
Yes.
So homebrew almost always is done for free. So even though that may not seem like a ton of money, I mean, maybe other like professional things like this get a little bit more money attracted to it. That's still really good. I mean, and if it just takes you a couple weeks, I don't even know the time frame.
Well, you don't have that much time. So here's the other thing I want to stress. It's April 17th that we're talking about this right now. You have until April 23rd to submit it.
Right.
And they even note here, while this sounds short, it is important to note that game jams are meant to be short, as the point behind them is to entice developers to come up with original ideas and develop a prototype for them in a short amount of time.
Right, so the pressure's on.
It is.
If, you're interested in something like this, I'd definitely get on it sooner than later. But I can't wait to see what comes out of this, because surely some good stuff is going to go. I mean, money entices a lot.
Now, the downside is REVita really doesn't have a website for this. They're doing this through Twitter. So I'm also going to link their Twitter in the description, and it is REPSP2. And this is how you can submit your Vita games if you'd like to. So I'm going to have that in there for sure.
Right. So, going over a few kind of guidelines here. Some of their guidelines are that they must be original games. So no, like, I guess ports or something like that. If there's an original game that is already an existing project, it can't be submitted unless they're substantially updated, which is kind of vague. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
That's probably something that people should shy away from, just so you don't like put in some effort and it turns out not to meet that kind of restriction. Can have multiple entries per person, but only one entry is going to win a prize. So you can't win first, second, and third and take all the money.
That's correct.
But yeah, it's also open to any kind of like development stack, which I think is kind of cool. So
I think that is too.
Lua is actually what I got started programming in on the PSP back in the day, and so Lua is a perfectly capable thing. So that's not going to be compiled natively. That's a scripting language, really easy to get started, really easy to code on the fly and test. That was really like my first language I dove deep into. Ended up making I think my first thing I made was like a Trogdor game.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have this anywhere?
Dude, I don't know. I don't think so. I think I lost that
Aww.
one. Yeah, I know. I've got some of my source code.
Did you
from
ever
the PSP.
release it anywhere?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not. Maybe that was one. I don't remember that. I might have ran into enough bugs because I was so terrible back then.
Oh man.
But yeah, Lua's fun. I mean, I haven't done anything in a while, but I tried to start with C, had no idea what I was doing, and Lua was something that was easy enough to like get into. So yeah, pretty sweet.
Yeah,
I'd love to see if some people from our community could actually get into it.
That would be awesome. Again, you have until April 23rd to submit. But the other the other stacks here are Game Maker, Unity, Vita SDK, and RPG Maker. So really, as long as you can make a piece of Vita game homebrew and submit it by April 23rd, you have a chance to win. Yeah, love these things.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great for the community. Love it.
Yeah, and I would love to see next month if we can round up some of like the top games that came out of that.
Yeah, we should. That's a good idea. We should do that.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll have to just remind ourselves to do that, but right on.
Hey Siri, note to self. Okay, before we get too distracted though, Sky McGowan, hopefully I'm saying your last name right, $5 donation, ModChat rocks, with the
rock on symbol.
I think that's the I love you. Actually.
Oh, is it? Yeah, it is. I love you. Yeah. Well, thanks, dude.
We love you
very
too.
much appreciate it for the $5 donation.
We love you too. We love your monies, but we love you being in the chat more than the monies.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
Much appreciated.
It's the community that makes us do this.
Dude, it is awesome.
Yeah.
It's weird. I still, when I talk about this, it's kind of like there are people that like actually like wait to see us live on chat, which blows my mind. It almost makes me like I'm a little bit bashful talking about it because it's like it feels so unworthy.
No, I totally get that. I know
But
it was.
It's still awesome regardless. Very much appreciated.
It really is. No, I was going to say here as well. When I had talked about, I was talking about the channel and all that. Not specifically ModChat, but like the channel with someone. And when you get caught up in the numbers, it's easy to kind of blow this off a little bit. But I'm just like, oh yeah, I've been doing this for a while. I almost have 100,000 subscribers, and it's all. I was talking with someone who was talking about perspective and everything, and he was saying, well, dude, that's like, you have more subscribers on your channel than people to fill up mini stadiums out there. And I was like, fuck, I never thought of it like that. Yeah. So even if it's something like, hey, if a video gets 1,000 views, it's like, dude, there's many lecture halls are only 200 or 300 people. There's more people watching a video or a podcast than they would be in a lecture hall.
I think one of the stadiums nearby here is 30,000.
Damn.
That's crazy.
No, jeez. Yeah, never think of it like that because it all just becomes numbers at the end. But you gotta like humble yourself like that and just kind of put it back into perspective. So
live mod chat at a stadium ETA win.
No.
Dude, it's crazy. My girlfriend actually went to a live podcast at a local like concert hall.
What podcast was it?
My Favorite Murderer, I think it was.
Okay, I know people that wanted to go to that and they couldn't get the tickets.
Yeah, she went with one of her friends. It was a blast. She had a good time. So, but I thought that was crazy. I'm like, man, a live podcast?
I've never been to a live podcast. I listened to I guess I go to this one, even though it's live stream. But I've
different.
I've listened to a live podcast. I listened to the live episode of the H3 podcast, and it was not good because they just ran into so many issues, and you could tell that Gila in particular was very nervous because she just had like a constant nervous laughter the whole time. And also I listened to them, so I'm like, this sucks. This is not good.
I've listened to a couple Linux related ones where they're at conventions, and everything seemed to work out really well. But it was almost like you couldn't tell, and they were like, we're live at whatever, and then you hear like the crowd erupt, and you're like, whoa. So that's kind of nice because the crowd comes in when they need to, and then they had enough of a good setup where
I did hear the CU podcast live as well, and I actually didn't like that one either, simply because the way they do it, they'll like record like us, and it'll be like, hey, we talked about this topic at this live show, so here it is. And then all of a sudden the quality just completely drops because you're going from two guys recording in a room with nice sound equipment to, a large event room recording. So it's echoey, it's boomy, you're not hearing them all that well. So I didn't like it that much either. But even then, it's like I feel like they don't get as good of a conversation in when they do it live on a panel as opposed to doing it in a room at times. But that's just my opinion on it. So maybe I need to try one myself and go to one, but the live podcast episodes that I have heard after I've heard the recordings of, I didn't like that much.
Well, and I think what was cool about that one too is that, and this could go either way, but they had some people, I guess, coming up like talking about like their own stories or something like that too, or like, because a lot of what they talk about is like real stories on that podcast.
For My Favorite Murderer? Yeah.
And so then they had like people coming up from the audience and like sharing some of their stories.
That's cool.
So that kind of adds an interesting element.
One I would like to hear would be Last Podcast on the Left, where they talk about just like really horrific and horrible things. And these guys are just so funny to listen to. So I'm like, you know what? If they ever come through, I would actually try and go to a live show.
I would like to go see one. I think it'd be a good experience.
Good shit.
But anyways, let's not get too distracted.
Yes.
Save some of this good discussion for the Q&A.
Absolutely.
Moving on. Do you have anything else to say about the Homebrew Game Jam?
No, I'm good on that.
So yeah. If anybody from the community who's watching or listening submits something, let us know. I'd love to feature it and talk about it on the next month's podcast.
Yeah.
So, moving on. Our favorite topic over the last couple of years.
Switch topic.
Switch stuff.
Switch chat.
Nintendo chat.
Yeah.
8.0 is out.
8.0.0 is out, succeeding the previous firmware, which was 7.0.1.
Yeah. So that's a pretty big bump, major version.
Very big, yeah.
I don't know of a lot of the under the hood details, but one of the biggest changes for the homebrew community is that Deja Vu has been patched.
Yes.
So
what does this mean, Devin, that Deja Vu is patched?
I was going to ask you a little bit more, because I haven't actually dealt with Deja Vu that much
none of us
our Switches.
So none of us have dealt with Deja Vu. So first of all, if you have this is my hack switch here.
Right.
If you have a hacked up switch, if it's already vulnerable to the RCM exploit and everything, you don't have to worry. Just don't update to 8.0.0 because I don't think there's any custom firmware that works on it. However, if you have one of the iPatched units we talked about, which means that it does have RCM, but it is no longer vulnerable to the boot ROM exploit, unfortunately, you cannot, as of right now, you cannot use a major exploit chain on it. So do not update your system. If you want to have it modified in the future, do not update it past 7.0.1 because this was essentially going to be the warm boot exploit that was going to be usable on patched switches, and it's been patched up on 8.0.0.
Was Deja Vu ever actually released to the public?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, it was not. It was a private exploit chain that was detailed and such, but it wasn't out there in release.
And you kind of like highlighted it, but I just want to go just a little bit deeper. So, like you said, RCM, the kind of vulnerability in the Tegra GPU.
Like the fuse jelly exploit we're talking about.
Using the jig and everything like that. Nintendo didn't release a hardware revision for that. What they did was like a soft update. So the boot ROM was patched, which they can't do through firmware, right? But they could do it at the factory. Is that right?
I would say it's technically a hardware patch because they have to do it at the factory, and they cannot ever patch fuse jelly on systems like this, the one I have here. They cannot ever patch it through software.
No.
It's a cold boot ROM exploit, so we can get it regardless as long as we have everything capable. But the other one, like the new switches, the patch ones that came out, they had new eye patches on them, so that prevents fuse jelly from being run.
What I mean by that is, I think from Nintendo's perspective, they didn't have to like actually physically revise the hardware or whatsoever. They just have to patch the boot ROM on their end.
That's correct.
When it's being assembled and everything.
That is
like
correct.
That. But it's in an area of the Switch that is not accessible by the OS or the updates or anything like that. So that's why they couldn't patch it from updates. But I don't believe it actually has like any different actual components in it, unlike what we saw from PSP and other different like things back in the day where like they actually had hardware revisions where the hardware itself was physically updated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so spec for spec, it is still the new switches are just like the old switches, but you are correct, the boot ROM has been patched at the factory.
Right.
So therefore, you cannot do the Fuse Jelly cold boot exploit. You could do a warm boot exploit if one was released, such as Deja Vu, but those warm boot exploits can be patched through software, which is what happened on 8.0.0. Mm-hmm. So again, if you have a currently hackable switch, do not update to 8.0.0 until custom firmware is supported for it. If you have a iPatch switch and you plan on getting it modded later on, do not update past 7.0.1 because you can effectively patch out Deja Vu.
Right. I mean, at this moment, I would say if you're interested in hacks at all, don't update.
Yeah.
So
very short way of doing it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a whole lot more to speak on this. I don't know about any like really major feature changes for 8.0.
I didn't track that personally.
Yeah, it wasn't really of interest to mine. In fact, like a lot of their feature updates lately have not been that grand. Mm-hmm. When we get some real,
we still have no folders. We only have white theme and black theme. We don't have. There's a lot that we're missing on there. So I still love the Switch. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, cool, another update that patches a lot of under the hood stuff and doesn't give me anything cosmetic. Awesome.
I love the games that I play and whatnot, but yeah, when you give me some better like Nintendo Switch Online features or better lobbying system or something like that, I'll be stoked.
Yeah.
But yeah, love the Switch. It's just, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It's a Switch.
It does disappoint me, and I understand, like, I'm sure they're going off of, like, breaking changes for different, like, APIs and stuff like that, and that's probably a big reason why they're bumping it up to 8.0. But as an end user, it's like, I like the whole, like, Android iOS model where it's like, number increase means fun new features, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's for end users. It's usually really nice, but
yeah. The only thing that if you're a stock user, the only thing that you're really going to benefit from is online play.
Right.
It's like, oh, cool, you can connect to the eShop and play online, all that shit. But yeah. Oh well. Again, I have two Switches. This is my hacked one right here. So this one I keep offline. I do whatever the hell I want to on it. It doesn't matter. And then my stock one I always update. And by the way, I did update that one to 8.0.0. And I am still just utterly shocked at how fast these systems update, dude. Like, I clicked updates like, okay, cool, it's downloading. And I swear I blinked. And then the system rebooted and patched.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's
exactly
insanely fast.
Mm-hmm. Now, I do see a couple interesting things. I just Googled the update real quick. There actually is a sort software feature from the home menu, so you can sort by like last played, total playtime, software title, and software publisher. That's kind of cool.
Okay, so a little more organization.
Right. There's a couple view all available news options.
This could have been a 7.1.
Right.
All right, you didn't have to get me excited with 8.
15 new icons. Here's one. Again, another one of those, like, why the hell wasn't this available at release, let alone a year ago? Mm-hmm. You can now transfer your save data from Switch to Switch. So we're not talking cloud backup, but, like, on the 3DS when you could, like, transfer your, like,
I thought you could
content.
do that already.
Oh,
I thought you could transfer your data from a Switch to another Switch.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure there was a feature to do, because we talked about this before. We talked about your brother possibly getting another Switch and how we would do it and say, like, hey, we could do this all...
No. That was like if we got a new one from GameStop, maybe.
No, but I was telling you that you wouldn't be able to do that through GameStop unless GameStop allowed you to have both Switches at the same time, and you went through the system that was there to transfer your data from the old one to the new one, and then you relinquished your old one to GameStop.
Yeah,
that's what we were talking about. But we had a discussion, I remember, about transferring data between Switches.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think what you might be reading, I think it's selective data now. So if you want, you can transfer a few saves.
Yeah, maybe.
But it used to be all or nothing.
That might be it.
Previously, to do a data transfer, it was, hey, you're doing a data transfer because you're getting a new Switch. Yes?
My favorite feature. Disable waking when the AC adapter is disconnected.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Because every time I unplug my Switch from the dock, I like to pack it away. I hit the lock
boop.
button again.
Yep.
Holy crap. I might do that on my main Switch. I don't know. So, just, not a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And yeah, even Exceed just verified. He said you could system transfer. Now you can just do the save. So
Gotcha.
yeah, because I was gonna say system transfer was a feature we talked about before. Yeah, because the time that we were talking about, it was you can system transfer, but I don't think GameStop will allow you to have two systems at the same time.
That's right.
If you're just doing a trade-in.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Which means now, well, I guess if 8.0 gets updated on custom firmware, would it be possible maybe to like transfer your saves between your hack switch and your main switch?
Yeah. That's yep. You could without a save manager. You're saying you could do it officially,
like from your official non-hack switch to your hack switch.
You could.
Ooh, maybe we'll have to see. That might be a fun experiment.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, coming down off that little hype right there, we're entering a little bit more somber news. First, they killed Deja Vu, and now they're trying to kill MVG.
I don't think they're trying to kill him, but they're trying to censor my boy. All right,
it's
trying to censor him.
Not happy.
Yeah,
it really sucks. Yeah, I haven't talked to him about him directly. I don't know if you have, but I did watch his video, and it's a bummer, man.
It is. So for anybody here who does not know, MVG, we're talking about Modern Vintage Gamer, fantastic dude, friend of the show, dear friend of mine.
Been on the podcast a few times.
3 times, I think, at this point. Yeah. But he ended up making this horrible... The video's not horrible. I just think what happened was horrible. He made this horrible video, not content. Okay. He made a video called...
With horrible news.
Yes, there we go. I've been censored by Nintendo. Fair use means nothing. And in here, he essentially says that, in case you don't know, he has made great videos about the Nintendo Switch, showing the homebrew features, showing, homebrew applications, showing emulators and all that stuff. And Nintendo has started using the Content ID system through YouTube to claim audio-visual rights on his videos.
And also, to be clear, in these kind of videos, they're not like promoting or even teaching anything about piracy. You know what I mean? He's not really, doesn't seem to be...
That's not the main focus of it, no.
Well, no, I mean, but in general, when you're talking about, like, getting attention on, like, hacking video game consoles, a lot of times piracy is, like, one of the biggest
he's not making videos saying something like, this is how you get free Switch games.
Right. And even, like, you can continue on, but, like, what was the problem honestly surprised me.
So, like in this video, for example, as you can see from this still, he ended up saying here, I'll try and boost into theater mode, that this video, Homebrew on the Nintendo Switch goes next level. It's been blocked in all countries. There's no monetization on it. And Nintendo ended up doing a manually detected audio-visual claim on this because he showed about 5 seconds of Super Mario 64. So this video is about 10, 11 minutes, let's say. He says that he showed 5 seconds of only the video, not even the audio. To me, this is open and shut fair use right here. But this was, again, this is straight up Nintendo censoring because it's not even like, oh, they're trying to get the money from him. No, they did a manual detection over 5 seconds worth of content to block the video from being viewed by anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty rough. And I don't, it's trying to find motivation here. Nintendo has done a lot of weird stuff in the past with not wanting their games to be streamed and a lot of, I don't know, weird stuff that's hard to get in the mindset of them. It almost feels like, it's like that they're a little bit of an old company or something like that, just because like, it's like, you don't get what like the current times are and like why people are doing this and why it would even harm you as a company.
One big thing to keep in mind about this is that MVG is essentially unofficially confirmed that it is Nintendo of Japan's doing because it seems like it's just Japanese companies. I'm not trying to even stereotype here, but just from what I've seen with YouTube and Content ID and copyright and gaming, it's always Japanese companies that don't really understand the YouTube side of things or fair use. We've seen this with Atlas, for example, where did you ever follow the Persona 5 thing that happened?
No, I did not.
Essentially, Atlas of America came out and they're like, hey, so Persona 5 is coming out on the PS4, and we know you all are really excited about it. And here's one other big thing. On the PS4, you have the ability to stream games, to record video, to take screenshots. All those features are blocked on Persona 5. You can't do any of those on PS4.
Weird.
So they're all blocked, but Atlas of America ended up saying, hey, look, we're really excited that you all probably want to do Let's Plays and streams of this, but our Japanese counterparts don't quite see eye to eye with us here, so we have some restrictions that we'd like to put on you. And it was essentially, you can play up to like a fifth of the game on stream and do whatever you want to, but if you played anywhere past that, they're not saying that we're going to, but there's a high possibility that we could strike down your video.
Man, it's a bummer.
Yeah, so they were, and I think for a while, Atlas of Japan was doing that, and I believe they've cooled down at this point. But even Nintendo, they tried to do their own Nintendo Partner Program here on YouTube, where they content ID'd all the stuff, and they said, if you want to make money off this, you have to go through our partner program, or you have to submit these videos to us, and they have to adhere to these guidelines, and you can play these games this way, but you can't play these certain games and all this other stuff. So it's generally the Japanese side of these game development companies that try and really control the user-generated content that's put out there. Yeah. While as the European and the American branches are like, hey, just have fun. Right. Just get the videos out there.
And I get what you're saying, but it's even hard for me to really fathom the motivation behind all this, because let's say the example here was Super Mario 64. 64 games, as far as we know, are not coming to Switch anytime soon.
MVG was thinking maybe this could be a hint that they're going to come.
Maybe. I mean, that's kind of where my mind goes too, but there's no advertisement for that. It's not like, hey, instead of, again, this isn't like a circumventing anybody. There's no Super Nintendo 64 or Nintendo 64 Classic that we know of yet. I mean, the only way to play these games is on really old hardware that a lot of people don't have. So I don't, it's hard to see the motivation on my perspective. I get that this could be coming from the Japanese side of things, but it just stinks without having like a real concrete reason why. You know what I mean? I could level with the company if I had a good reason. Like maybe I don't like it, but I don't have that reason. I don't, I don't have a good explanation. And it just extra sucks that it's happening to MVG, someone that we know personally.
Yeah. Now, I had kind of like left this hanging here, but when I talked about him, because I'm sorry, I went off onto the the Japanese company tangent. But when I said he kind of officially, unofficially confirmed it was Nintendo of Japan, he had specifically said, I don't have the tweets in front of me, but he said that he disputed the Content ID matches, and they were rejected at nighttime here in the U.S., and it was like 11 o'clock in the morning in Japan. So it was during their business hours that they were coming in, and they were also being rejected, the appeals and such. Now, he was also saying, he believes Nintendo only cares about first-party games, which is why his other Switch videos did not get claimed. So, for example, if he had a Switch video showing Return to Castle Wolfenstein playing on the Switch through homebrew methods, that didn't get claimed. But something with Super Mario 64, A Link to the Past, Splatoon 2, those games were getting claimed. Yeah. He even said that, here's another thing, that this is like, regardless of where you're at, because some people are even, I'm sure some people will say, well, Nintendo's in their rights to do that, and they're just trying to prevent this, and they're looking out for the company. The thing that's the most fucked up about this is MVG said, and I've seen this with two people, MVG said that in one of his videos he got claimed for Splatoon 2 footage, which he didn't show any footage from Splatoon 2. He got claimed for something that wasn't there. Another YouTuber actually had the same thing happen, and he talked about it, Tech James. Now I didn't see the video, so this is allegedly, but he said that he also got a Content ID claim like this for Super Mario 64 footage in a Switch homebrew video, which didn't have Super Mario 64 footage in it.
And that's extra dirty.
Yeah. So Nintendo is claiming shit that doesn't exist at this point.
Man, yeah, that's real.
I don't know how anyone can not verify, but I don't know how anyone can defend that.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
And these are manual claims.
These are manual. Nintendo is going out and specifically claiming these. Now, the funny thing is, too, this is also the easiest I've ever seen Nintendo gone, because Nintendo, they don't like modding on YouTube, but they seem to only do it selectively and in waves. So, for example, I have never seen any claims or any strikes against Nintendo Classic, Super Nintendo Classic, even like an N64 mod. I've never seen it. Never. But the 3DS, every few months or like once a year or so, it seemed that there would be a wave of videos that got taken down.
And you got caught up in that even.
I did. I'll talk about that too. With the Switch, there's been several waves of video takedowns. And what Nintendo has done before, so when I got caught up in it, I think prior to me actually, the Belgian Anti-Piracy Federation, which files claims on Nintendo's behalf, they were doing copyright strikes on 3DS related videos. When I got caught up in it, I can't prove it was Nintendo, but I was there around a time where 3DS videos, if a video was related to the 3DS and flash carts, if it had both in the same video, it could be a DS flash cart on a 3DS, or it could be a Sky 3DS, or it could be a Gateway 3DS. But tutorials that were like that were getting struck down with community guideline strikes.
Right.
When I escalated this, because I had to fight for it, and check out one of my videos if you want to, the community guideline strike rant, where I talk about all of this. It was from several years ago. But essentially what happened was I had to fight YouTube for it, and they claimed at first that it was circumvention of technological measures, which is a complaint that you could put through YouTube, and we've talked about it here on the podcast, but the problem is I never got any official automated email citing that. So I think it was probably a bot that was going through periodically, like for a few weeks, and was just reporting all of these videos that had to do with 3DS and flash cards, and it was taking them down. So I worked with YouTube on that, and then I just said, you know what, I'm done. I'm not going to work on this again. Even though I got my strikes resolved and my videos back, I said, I don't want to deal with this headache again. Now, the other things that they have done, they did this time around with the Switch. They ended up doing, I noticed, right before the Switch came out, they did more strikes on 3DS content through Belgian Anti-Piracy Federation, copyright strikes. They ended up doing any SXOS related tutorials. Nintendo was doing copyright strikes on those, which again we talked about on ModChat, and those were actually released by YouTube. So YouTube ended up just dropping all of those.
Right.
But then they started going back to community guideline strikes, and Nintendo started doing circumvention of technological measures complaints, which is almost like it's like combining a copyright strike with a community guideline strike. Because with a copyright strike, a company has a copyright owner has to file it, and then if legitimate, not even all the time, but essentially YouTube has to honor that. So you're dealing with the copyright holder at that point. However, with a circumvention of technological measures request, the only person who can, or the only entity who can file one of those requests or complaints would be the copyright holder. And then that gets sent to YouTube, and then YouTube issues a community guideline strike, and you're dealing with YouTube at that point. So this has been the lightest I've ever seen them go, but this is a whole new tactic of censoring videos. It's not strikes, thankfully, but it is censorship.
Well, what sucks is that MVG even has, I think in his video that you were showing, he mentioned that at least for the time being, he's not really going to he's going to hold off on some Switch-related stuff.
Not even the time being. He's done with Switch-related content. He's like, you know what? This is them telling me they are targeting me. They're saying, we don't want you to do this stuff, and I don't want to fight this anymore. So, yeah.
It sucks, man.
Yeah, it does, because he makes fantastic content.
Yeah.
However, I do want to showcase this real quick. Where the hell is it? Is it here? Maybe, possibly. Where is it? I'm trying to look for his BitChute account. And I think I'll just have to, find the link and all that on here. But for anybody who is wanting to see his existing Switch videos, he has re-uploaded them all onto his BitChute account. So they are still viewable. They're not viewable on YouTube, unfortunately, but you can still watch them regardless. Again, he's not going to be making any more, but it is nice that they are still viewable because, again, they're fantastic videos.
So I'm sure you're gonna are you gonna share?
Yeah.
The video? So
yep.
But
right
the URL
here
is bitchute.com/channel/modernvintagegamer.
And I'll have it linked down below in the description. But yeah, these are all of his videos right here. Nintendo Switch Pro, what to expect, the best Nintendo Switch homebrew and emulators tested. Homebrew on the Switch goes next level. I ported MAME 0.72 to Nintendo Switch. Homebrew on the Nintendo Switch 2019 update. I actually don't think these are all of his videos, but they're still absolutely worth a watch if you want to either rewatch them or if you want to watch them for the first time. Yeah. Support our boy.
Agreed. Yeah. I wish there was a light at the end of the tunnel here, but, it sucks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But like even like you said, it kind of really makes a lot of this unpredictable because this stuff does seem to come in waves. You know what I mean? It'd be better if it'd almost be better. You know, I don't want to see anybody get taken down for this stuff, but it'd almost be better if it was more consistent, diligent. You knew what to expect. But it's like it seems to be let up, and then some other weird tactic comes in that's not even the same way of handling
Again,
it.
it comes in waves. It's different things, and it's always like the hot systems. Like I don't think any strikes went through ever for Wii U content.
That's true.
I'd never heard of Wii U content getting struck down.
Yeah.
I just realized that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So it's not like based on principle. It's based on like
the hotness.
Yeah. Their monies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's talk about something Switch related, but a little more lighthearted.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, man. And you didn't have to do that.
I got dared. And he gave us monies.
Yeah. Oh, wait, what? What? Did we get a thing for it or what?
No.
Oh.
It was Sky.
Okay.
He told me to knock over Yoshi.
Oh.
I didn't want to do it while you were
damn it.
passionately ranting.
No. I understand that. Yeah, get rid of the amiibos in protest and bring them back next episode. That's what Nicholas said. Anyways, can you cover this next topic while I set up for it?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
So I actually haven't seen any footage of this, so this will be interesting. But developer Simon Time developed some Switch homebrew. We're gonna lighten the mood just a little bit here. It's kind of hilarious. I could see this being like some kind of a tech demo that maybe I'd work on, but it's literally a bouncing DVD logo.
It's a fucking
homebrew.
meme. I love it so much.
I mean, hey, it'd be kind of cool, I guess, to just like let that go on your TV, for a while. I don't know. Does it scale well? Have you done it on your TV or just your Switch?
I've only done it on the Switch, but it's the DVD logo. We've memed on here.
Yeah.
I know this was released about a month ago, but look, we didn't cover it last time around. And damn it, I love this thing. All right.
Yeah, so that's pretty hilarious, and I'm glad you actually got it set up because I definitely.
I'm trying
want see.
to. The Switch is booting right now. It's not a Nintendo first-party piece of homebrew, okay, or no game.
So not prepared.
Hey man, I wanted to jig it here on. I had to get jiggy with it.
Had to get jiggy on camera.
I did exactly.
Nice.
Let me find it right here. This is it, by the way.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah.
Is that like public domain? That image.
I would hope so, but that's literally all it is right there, guys. And if you press the A button,
Speed up.
yeah, there's the second speed, the third speed, the fourth speed.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, okay, and that's so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's 4 speeds. I thought it was 5.
You ever get that like real intense satisfaction when you're watching that and then it like hits the corner perfectly?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I'm trying to show it the best I can, but it's a little bit hard. But I promise you, that's it right here. I kind of just want to.
I almost want like a corners only mode.
Let me turn up the brightness on here as well too.
Yeah.
But let me see if I could kind of just like display it like.
Or just like have that going for the rest of the show.
Yeah. Why not? if I can. PS2 move. There we go. Okay. I wanted to. There we go.
Got a little bit of glare, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. All right.
You need to give it some HD night vision.
Yes. There we go. That's it. That's the homebrew.
No, I mean...
I had to cover this. I love it.
So the version 1.1 was to add the speeds?
Yes. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the 1.0 was it's a bouncing DVD logo. 1.1, it's a bouncing DVD logo. Press A to toggle speeds.
Not even like a proper changelog. It's just really like a re-description.
Mm-hmm.
But that's hilarious. Glad you got it up and running.
Me
It's
too.
exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Me too, man.
So maybe not much surprise.
It's
but
so great. It's so great. So we're just going to have this running for the rest of the show. My Switch is like 85% charged, so it'll be just fine.
Nice. So moving on to some more serious news.
But let's see if people let us know if it hits one of the corners. I want to see that.
Oh yeah. That is like the most satisfying thing ever.
Yeah.
And like especially like when you're not sure, you're like, is it? Like barely, it's like 1 pixel off, and there's the little mini ricochet.
Yep.
But when it hits that corner, man,
It's beautiful.
just right.
Yeah, just right.
But yeah, so on some more serious news, we got another version of Atmosphere that came out, which isn't a huge surprise.
Yes.
Seems to be rolling out pretty regularly, pretty much like monthly, it seems like.
Happy June 15th, Devin.
Right. Another one.
Yeah.
But this one actually had maybe a little bit more impact than a lot of the other ones. A lot of the other ones have been kind of under the hood. We did get some cheats and whatnot recently, which is cool.
Yeah.
But this one actually, up until this release, the game Hellblade... Senua's
Sacrifice.
Senua's
that's how I would
Sacrifice.
say it. Yeah.
Didn't work with it.
This is the first game I've seen that was broken with custom firmware.
Yeah.
It was surprising to me. Surprised everyone.
Right. And so I think this would be, I don't know if it has a cartridge release, but like
it doesn't, unfortunately.
Okay. So
I'm holding off. I'm seeing, but it's digital only.
So but yeah, I'm not really sure. I try to look at it. I don't really know much of the specifics about what they did to fix it. We have a description here. Loader had support added in AMS 0.8.4, I'm guessing Atmosphere, for a new 7.0.0 plus flag bit in NPDMs during process creation, but forgot to allow this bit to be set when validating the NPDM. I don't know what most of that crap means, but...
It's not crap, okay? It's Hellblade! We had to get help, but I also, a lot of that kind of went over my head.
Yeah. I mean, I could have looked up what NPDMs were and all kinds of stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's really that much of importance. Good thing is that they figured it out and they patched it. So
and of course, because Atmosphere is really kind of like the leader custom firmware out here, so to speak, this change is also getting implemented in other custom firmwares. One of them, I know SXOS, the 2.6.2 beta implemented it, of course, but it's happening. Yeah.
Looking up real quick on Switch Brew, it says that the NPDM is like the Switch equivalent of a 3DS X header. This is the file with extension NPDM, which makes sense. So some kind of a header file, extended header. So I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on this, but it works now. It's good.
It works. It's all good. You can play Hellblade on custom firmware.
Yeah. And like you said, the team is moving real quickly, so props to them for getting this fixed.
Absolutely.
Go update your Atmosphere.
Go update your Atmosphere, god damn it.
I need to.
I'm running Atmosphere 0.87 on here, so this Switch is, I'd have to update it. Or maybe. We have another topic about this, but this Switch is kind of technically I can play Hellblade on it now. So
what did Hellblade require?
I believe it was 7.0.0 or 7.0.1.
Is that on 6.2 still?
This is on 6.2, correct? Yeah, because I don't none of my cartridge games require anything higher than 6.2.
Yeah. Well, if you use reNXpack, you might be able to get it to work on your firmware version.
Oh, really? And Devin, what is reNXpack?
Yeah, I came across this one a week or so ago, and came out April 10th, but it's actually a way to repack Nintendo Switch NSPs to work on lower firmwares. So pretty cool. It works with games, updates, DLCs, and it works with like the lowest encryption keys.
Very nice.
It says under the features here, convert title key encrypted NCAs to standard encrypted NCAs, patch required version, which was just, I'm guessing, like a soft flag, and required application version to 0, so not even 1.0, but 0, apparently. Nice. And then support NSPs containing multiple games, updates, and DLCs. So this is pretty cool. There is, it's not going to be flawless. There are going to be features, APIs, or what I guess in the kind of Switch world would be called IPCs, where essentially the game's going to try and access something, the operating system, that may not exist because it's on a lower firmware.
Sure.
So you can spoof this, you can try your best. A lot of times these require updates just to force people to get updated. But if a lot of that, it's not utilizing any new APIs, then it may work just fine.
Right.
Or maybe 99% of the game would work just fine, So I think it's a really cool option, especially with where we're at on the scene. We're not patching custom firmwares to support these firmwares, right away. We don't want to rush these things. There's not a huge real need for it, especially in the homebrew world. So if you can patch your games to work on a lower firmware with little to no issues, that's an awesome workaround. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I haven't given this a shot. Maybe you can by the next time we have ModChat. We'll see.
Maybe, possibly.
I'm sure there's a load of other stuff
Yeah.
on the plate.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I just more cared about because like I don't have any like eShop games on here. I just have my cartridge games that I dumped. So
Yeah.
even those, but yeah, I might try it. But I don't know. I'm also one of those people. I'm a little bit lazy. And I'm like, I'll just update the system to get it working. It's fine.
Yeah, maybe wait another month.
Yeah.
Patch it eventually. But yeah, I think it's really cool. It's gonna fit some people's needs for sure.
It will.
Sure, some people were dying to play Hellblade.
Yeah.
On their hack Switch.
But it was fixed up so fast as well too. So they only waited like maybe a day, maybe 2.
To what?
From
to get the firmware working.
Yeah, to get custom firmware working after the release of Hellblade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty sweet.
It is.
If anybody in the community has experience with this, feel free to let us know.
Please do.
Now, you had a little bit of experience with our next topic.
I do indeed. This is right here. Let me bring this up.
Something that I really want to get into in the next month.
Yes, and I'll try and help you with it as best I can, but I want to tell my story here too.
Oh,
so
geez.
PPSSPP, the PSP emulator, is now available on Nintendo Switch. This was written up on wololo.net, of course, and this has been a core that was ported over by developer M4XW. And here it was noting that early reports indicate that the emulator is getting very reasonable frame rates for first release. The developer in particular had shared a few days ago that Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker is running pretty much at full speed, depending on the parameters used in the emulator. So they're claiming that, and it seems to be, available here, and it seems to be working well. Now, I know this was available early to Patreon backers because M4XW does have a Patreon, and they released it on there early, and then it got a public release, and it is in beta. So they said that since it's a beta core, you're going to have to add it yourself and expect some issues. So it's not something that you can officially get through RetroArch, unfortunately. Now, Devin, sadly, I tried this out. I haven't had much success with it, man.
Really?
Yeah, I have tried. I have, several different games on there. I think I have both Grand Theft Auto games. I have Infected. I have a few other games.
Infected.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That game's so good.
I forgot about it.
Oh
Okay.
my god, it's so good.
Anyways.
I can only get one to work. The only game I can get working is Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories, and it does not play very well at all. And it has to be something that I'm doing incorrectly, because I have seen videos of people who are playing all of these PSP games super well, including like Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, for example, which I cannot get to boot.
Now, I haven't really tweaked with RetroArch core parameters like ever. Really.
Same.
So, did you experiment with much? I mean, is that
not
something that
really?
you can
I mean,
tweak in
even
RetroArch?
today, I decided to check it out. Where I got the latest version of RetroArch 1.7.6. I installed it. I dumped the core in there accordingly. I went in. I updated all the stuff, so like the extra info and everything, and I'm getting the same results. My Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories, it plays barely, and none of my other PSP games are working. So I'm not blaming the developer on it. I really think that it is something with my configuration. I just don't know what to reconfigure on it. And it's very disappointing for me.
Well, hopefully there's going to be, maybe my next ModChat, there'll be a little more news. Maybe, I want to get my hands on this. I would love to, I still have my PSP laying around, but I think this would, reinvigorate me to, just dive back into a PSP game or something like that.
Hell yeah.
So maybe I'll experiment with it. Maybe I can have some better luck and bring that your way.
Please try that, because I'd like to play PSP games on the Switch. That'd be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't. At least I can't well, unless I want to play Liberty City Stories at 4 frames a second.
Right.
Oh, man. Anyways, we do have another thing here, which is a video player. Do you want to cover this, or should I grab it here?
Because
I don't know too much about it. I'll be honest.
Basically, when I saw this, I was like, well, surely there's another video player out for the Switch, and I found at least one, but I think the other one that I had found, I think it was called Player NX. Even the GitHub is archived. You can still view it, but it's obvious that project is pretty much dead.
Sure.
So I'm guessing that this was kind of more of okay, well, there's no video player out anymore, or one that's being currently updated, so why not do it? It uses the MPV interface to handle FFmpeg interoperability, which basically is fancy talk for this is using some pretty common standard open source stuff to play videos. So hopefully the compatibility and, frame rates and whatnot are pretty good right out of the box. Not trying to reinvent the wheel too much. Supports most popular video formats, subtitles, HTTP and FTP streaming, and more, which is pretty cool. So maybe you could even stream stuff from your computer.
Very nice.
But yeah, I haven't really given this a shot. The Switch isn't something that I really plan on, using to play videos. But I would like to see it as someone who likes the idea of tablets in general. And I have a tablet, I just never use it. I think having my Switch be a tablet one day, if it was really well supported and worked really well, I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I can agree.
I don't really watch videos on the go. I don't really have a need for this myself, but it's neat, and I think that it's something that should exist.
Mm-hmm.
So,
for sure. So I didn't add this onto the topic list, but just a small footnote here. The same developer who worked on porting the PPSSPP core over to RetroArch, they also ported over a FFmpeg core.
I actually heard about this. I was going to mention it, but I didn't know anything about it.
That's about all I know. He ported it over. You dump in the core. You have to update your info on... Just go to RetroArch and, click the updates on there to make sure it all works. And it seems to work pretty well with about 720p content. But if you want to watch videos through RetroArch on Switch, you can technically do that now. Again, thanks to M4XW.
Yeah, and that's something that I definitely wouldn't do.
Me too.
I'd much prefer to use a dedicated video player, but that does make me impressed with the flexibility of RetroArch in general.
Yeah.
So,
gotta love it.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite open source kind of homebrew applications that I've really messed with at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think we already talked about this. You're probably going to take the next couple topics here.
Yes, I will gladly take them, but we're going to be talking about our last headlining topic at least, which is going to be something that I had talked about earlier, the PS3Xploit update. So we have two big updates right here, and I have a good amount of experience with them at this point, but the first one here is this wasn't like the previous PS3Xploit tools. So in case anyone does not know, PS3Xploit version 1 and version 2, they're from Team PS3Xploit, but version 1 and version 2 were released for firmware 4.84 on the PS3, and they allowed you to essentially just do this all through WebKit, but open up a internet browser, and I'm very much simplifying it here. You could open up an internet browser, you go to whatever link you need to, and you can kind of just on the fly take a hex file, patch it onto your system's NAND or NOR, patch it onto the system flash, and then it allows you on firmware 4.82 to install a custom firmware right off the bat. Essentially, what would have to happen before is somebody would have to open up the PS3 completely, and you would have to take a NAND patcher or a NOR patcher, and you essentially have to dump your system flash, you apply a patch to it, flash it back over to the system, and then that patch is essentially a flag which allows your system to flash a custom firmware directly to it. This completely bypasses the need to open up your system and do any of that because you're using the WebKit magic there to patch your system's flash from a file on your USB drive. So those two allowed it to do that, and PS3Xploit v3 allowed you to use HAN, which was short for ethanol, which was essentially allowing you to play repackaged PS1, PSP, PS2, PS3 games on all PS3s, because not all PS3s are compatible with custom firmware, but all PS3s are compatible with HAN, and it used some trickery with the licensing on the PS3 when you re-signed your games. So that's a quick TLDR of it. Firmware 4.83 came out of nowhere, blindsided everyone because it'd been over a year that the PS3 was exploitable, and it patched these, of course. And then 4.84 came out. Now, there's been two big updates on here. One, there's a whole new firmware that's out, and it is hybrid firmware 4.82. 4.84, excuse me.
0.2.
4.84 version 2. Yeah, so
Okay.
0.2. But essentially, Junie they had joined in on the PS3 team, so it's PS3Xploit team plus Junie now. And essentially what hybrid firmware is let's just explain it a little bit. OFW is official firmware, straight from Sony, stock, no magic on there. Custom firmware is the custom firmware. If you're running custom firmware, you have all the extra stuff on there that you want to, and your PS3 is jailbroken if you're running custom firmware. Hybrid firmware is, again, I'm very much boiling it down here, but they ended up taking the WebKit that was exploitable from 4.82 and injected it into 4.84. So at that point, you have a essentially stock firmware 4.84, which has been injected with the 4.82 exploit, like the 4.82 WebKit, meaning that you can use the tools that the PS3Xploit tools I just mentioned, as long as they have been updated to use the 4.84 firmware offsets.
Mm-hmm.
So this just, again, boiling it down, allows you to have firmware 4.84, like a stock variant, with 4.82 WebKit running on it, which is awesome. There's been nothing like this out, so this is so awesome to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a cool workaround.
It is. Yeah, I love the idea behind this. So essentially, this, if you install this only, this is not just magically hacking up your PS3. So a lot of people are like, cool, I've installed HFW and my PS3 is acting the same. I can't do anything else. That's when the tools came out. So all the tools were updated. PS3Xploit hand tools and the regular PS3Xploit tools for custom firmware. And that was the hand tools and then the flash writer and the flash dumper. So now at this point, you can run Han on 4.84. You can dump your NAND or your NOR or your MEMMC. You can dump your flash memory on there. You can dump your system-specific IDPS files. You can dump your activation file. You can, if you have a compatible system, you can now patch it and flash custom firmware straight onto 4.84. And it works super well. So all of this is out. I've done tutorials covering these as well too. And it's great. Now it is the same compatibility as before. So again, only certain PS3 models are capable of installing custom firmware, so it doesn't affect that at all, meaning this, if your PS3 last time around wasn't compatible with custom firmware, it's still not compatible with custom firmware.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still do this. Like, you can if you have a non-compatible PS3, you can use Han on it, which is great. So
it really just bumps the support up for the existing software to 4.84.
That is correct. Yeah, the latest firmware update out right now, 4.84, is now exploitable again, thanks to PS3Xploit and Junie. So big thank you all around for it. And again, just the real magic behind it, aside from porting over all the offsets that are needed for 4.84, because that does change, is now using hybrid firmware, which just allows you to use the 4.82 WebKit on 4.84 firmware.
Very cool.
It was really cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
And I've seen some stuff like this in the past on older consoles where they kind of made like a hybrid firmware-ish, taking different elements. But yeah, not quite anything like this. It's kind of cool to see something like this come around again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Are you talking about, we had done this together, but like on the PSP with Infinity? Because I think with Infinity, in order to flash that custom firmware, you have to essentially build your own file, which is a combination of 6.31 firmware and 6.61 firmware.
And even back in the day, now that I think about it, like the old PSP custom firmwares, wasn't it like in like the 2.0 era, they were using like the 1.5 kernel or something like that?
I didn't think of how awesome that was until years and years later.
Yeah.
Where you were taking the current firmware with the current kernel, but then you were also injecting a optional 1.5 kernel into it, which you could switch between.
Mm-hmm.
That's just ingenious.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
I didn't realize how the PSP developers were on some other shit.
Yeah, and a lot of that I don't think was open source too. So like, you know what I mean? These were really smart people in a closed community.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
Well, you have anything else to speak on that? Or should we move on?
No, I just again, I want to say big props, shout outs, thank yous to PS3Xploit as well as Junie for their work on that.
Shout out to Escort Do for working on some of those tools too.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I think it's Escort Do, W Habib, does W go by this Boogerville? I believe is his name, or I don't remember what they're saying. Yeah, BGURville. I believe that's what it is. And Junie, so they're the ones who are working on it. Yeah, I believe I got all the team members there at that point. So.
There you go. Keep up the good work, guys. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So our final topic.
Devin linked this one to me, and I was like, what?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So I actually didn't see the original video that was kind of a precursor to what we're about to talk about.
Sure.
But basically, on April Fool's, some developers in the Wii U community actually released a video of the Wii U running Mac OS. And it was an old version of Mac OS because the Wii U runs PowerPC architecture, and Mac OS used to run on PowerPC architecture. So it kind of made sense. I mean, they had a pretty good setup there. And really what it was, someone actually developed a VNC client, which for people who don't know what a VNC client is, virtual network computing. It's basically a way of sharing your desktop and being able to control it to an extent over the network.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of actually running Mac OS, they were actually just streaming Mac OS from their laptop to the Wii U. Now, what's cool about this is we have not seen a VNC client for the Wii U yet, so it ended up being followed up, even though it was an April Fool's joke, it was actually followed up by a release of real software.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's actually really neat, just the whole background behind that, spawning something off of April Fool's and actually having something substantial to come out with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have Mac OS actually running on the Wii U. I don't know if you would really want to run
don't,
Mac
but
OS.
we do have Wii U VNC available from GitLab, all open source and everything.
Right. And so with the way VNC stuff works, you're going to have a client and you're going to have a server, client running on the thing that you're viewing the content, server running the thing, serving up the content. VNC stuff has been around for a while, so you could be streaming this from your, let's say Windows PC, Mac OS, Linux, even if you maybe had it on an Android phone or a jailbroken iPhone running a VNC server.
And that's the example that they use.
Right. So really anything that could support a VNC server should be able to run with it, which is really neat. So I don't know what you would really use this for. Maybe if you were being lazy and you needed to click something on your desktop and you were really far away and you had your Wii U right there, maybe you could just fire that up and click it real quick.
Sure.
One thing to note was the video, it was performing kind of slow, pretty slow. There was frame buffering issues and stuff like that. So I'm sure it's going to get worked on, get some updates, but I just thought that was really cool in light of all of the April Fool's shenanigans that are out there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To actually get something out of it in the end.
I really missed a lot of the April Fool's stuff this year around.
I stay away.
I understand.
I almost turn off the internet. You know what I mean? For a day.
I think one of my let me see if I can find this real quick because this is a really nice article that I wanted to shout out. But let's see, GTA. If I look this up, is it going to? No. Here we go. This is another Wololo article. So this isn't directly related to this, but this is probably my favorite April Fool's that I saw. Mostly finished Grand Theft Auto 4 beta for the PS Vita leaked and available for download. The game which could have saved PS Vita, which was never meant to be.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and if you read this, I went in, I was like, okay, this has to be an April Fool's joke. But if you read it, and this was not April Fool's, let's say if this was released March 22nd, you can read this and be like, oh, this actually is, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So big props to, I want to say it was, Aurora who wrote this. I remember reading this, I was like, okay, it's obviously April Fool's, but this is actually, I like this one.
Nice. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. Pretty neat news piece of software.
Sure.
So can't complain too much.
Hold on, Oh, okay. It went into sleep mode, I guess, sadly. Dang. Yeah, I'm just going to have to not rejig this, but just have to open up the homebrew again. There we go.
Put it back.
Yeah. What else would I put on here? Actual games?
Yeah, right.
Use my Switch for something useful?
You could play some video game trailers on there with pPlay.
I guess I could.
Yeah, got options now. But that's really all the topics that we had set up, unless you had something up your sleeve that you haven't told me about.
No, I don't. The only thing I had up my sleeve was the FFmpeg core. but that's about it.
Yeah.
So everyone, that was all the topics that we had. So what does that mean now, Devin?
It's time for Q&A.
It's time for a Q&A.
Yep. So if you guys have questions in the chat that you want us to answer, we will answer most things. And, there's not a lot of limitations, but especially anything modding related, we're here.
Absolutely.
We may not have all the answers, but we'll give you our unprofessional opinion.
For sure. Yeah, and this is for anyone that does not know. This is something that we like to do on the live chat of the stream. So last 20 or 30 minutes, we like to allocate it to just taking user questions and answering them. If you're live here, please feel free to ask some questions. If you are watching or listening to a post-live version of it, hopefully you can come out to one of the live streams. I normally announce them 2 or 3 days in advance on the Mr. Mario 2011 channel. And on top of that, they're normally at like 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on a Wednesday, sometime in the middle of the month. So if you can make it out, awesome. Hopefully, if you're not available here, maybe some of your questions you're asking will get answered, or some of the ones you want to ask will get answered. But
sure. Now, there's one that I just mentioned that I would try and answer early on in the show. So I kind of like want to address it a little bit. Have you heard of like I think it's the GDP or GPD Pocket?
Or like, is it like the GPD Win? Or something like that?
There's several. So
I
it's
know
basically like a pocket PC.
Yeah.
Right. It's real small. It's almost looks like a 3DS style thing, but it's got a full QWERTY keyboard. They're pretty cool. So these are things that I think are really neat. I've even been following some people in the Linux community. The lead developer of Ubuntu Mate. He's been releasing stuff for that. So like Ubuntu Mate runs on this like really, really well. You can get a full version of Linux running on these things, and it's a tiny little pocket PC.
Damn.
Yeah,
that looks like just like a little tiny bootleg Apple.
Yeah, and
bootleg MacBook.
It's like the size of like a a new 3DS or something like that. I don't know the exact dimensions.
I'm not crazy about the keyboard.
Well, but it's to be held in your hand. You're not typing on it with your fingers. You're actually typing on it like a phone.
I'm still not crazy about the keyboard.
Hey, got to give and take when something's that small.
I understand. Like, I'm just being picky.
It's better than a BlackBerry keyboard.
True.
So, and then you got like the little nipple for the instead of a trackpad, just because of the lack of space.
Yeah, I see that there.
Yeah. So I mean, they make do, but I've heard these things are really awesome from these Linux developers. So like, this is like really awesome to take on an airplane because I can actually get real work done with a real operating system, and I don't have to worry about like lugging around.
This is the one I thought you were talking about, the GPD Win, which I've seen a lot of people have some fun with this.
I think it's a little bit older.
It is.
It looks like
it was released 2 years ago. Yeah. I think there's a Win and a Win 2.
Right. Which is interesting that they choose Windows to run on this.
I mean, it has the most game compatibility because, look, I mean, this is really obviously...
Really, though? I mean, if we're talking about most game compatibility, I bet you're going to be running emulators, and I bet Linux...
Dude, there's someone I'm following on Instagram who's playing Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4 on it.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, you have to play like 720p low to medium settings, mind you, but it's playable. So.
Yeah. But if you're running it for like emulators and stuff like that, I'm sure you could throw up like a kind of like a RetroPie-ish setup.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And have a really good time on there. But yeah, I think they're really awesome. If I have, extra money laying around, you better believe I would have one of those just to play around and have fun with it.
I've thought of it, but I don't like... I don't really have a need for a tablet. If I have to go anywhere with a full Windows setup, I use my laptop, which is pretty rare now. So it would be something I wouldn't mind messing around with, but to pay like the $600, I personally wouldn't. I just don't have a need for it right now.
I mean, have you tried to use your laptop on an airplane, though? Especially one of yours. Like, don't you have like a 17-inch laptop?
I have a giant laptop. Yeah,
that is no fun. Even my 15-inch laptop on airplanes is like
I don't, and that's why I don't use my laptop on an airplane. So I stick with like my phone or a PSP or a Switch.
Right, but if you're trying to like again, so like if you're thinking about games, but you could like literally code on this thing, which you're not doing on your phone or your Switch, right? Games, you can't really beat like a Switch or something like that, but if you're actually trying to get like real work done, you really could with this thing.
And I guess I just don't want to work on an airplane, but that's me.
Hey, sometimes you got to do it.
It's true.
It's not your job, but like some people that would probably fit really, really well. Or even
Yeah.
like in an airport, right? Like just sit down, flip up this thing instead of like lugging out the laptop, putting on your lap.
I guess then, well, if you're doing it through like a corporation that you're working through or something, unless it's like your own business or whatever, if you're working for whatever big box corporation or something, you have to use their own hardware. So a lot of them get touchy about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It depends.
Yeah.
Like I said, I code on my Hackintosh, so
yeah,
maybe I'm a luckier one.
Yeah.
But
if it fits, it sits, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've wanted to code on an airplane just because it's a hobby of mine, and I tried to do it on this thing, and it was so frustrating because it was so big, and then people like just leaning back, and it's like,
oh my god.
So like, yes, I would totally use that, and I would totally try and code on it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely find
that. I just haven't had to use a laptop on an airplane in years, so that's been me.
Anyways, do you have any more questions floating around? Let's back it up just a little bit.
Let's see. Nothing directly here. Let me see, though. I'm not saying that there's nothing here, but it's just Tristan was asking 100,000 subs when? I mean, hopefully soon. The channel just hit 96,000 subscribers, I think, today. So that's cool. But, yeah. The Profound Carrot is asking, should I go with Atmos or reNX?
Probably
say Atmos.
Yeah, I mean,
from what I've observed,
the most support. I think reNX, the developer, has even back on the 3DS days, I think has a pretty particular like, I'm not doing this to like make everyone happy. I'm doing this for me and doing it a certain way with certain standards. I think if you want the best all-around support and experience, I would go with Atmosphere.
Yeah,
but reNX is not something to just brush over.
I would say, and that's another reason why I want to get the damn the damn RCM loader.
Mm-hmm.
So I could be like, okay, what is the difference between all these custom firmwares? So I could actually, get a nice feel for all of them and just switch them on the fly.
Right.
Yep.
I don't know if it's something that you have any information on or what this even really means. Best way on Windows 10 to rebuild original Xbox HDD? Is that just like flashing firmware onto it? Or
No. It's actually rebuilding a hard drive from scratch for the original Xbox to work on it. I mean, I'm assuming this would be for a soft modded system, so you would need an EEPROM and you'd need to lock it to that EEPROM. I believe Rocky 5 in his big soft mod package, if you download it, he does have some GUI based tools that can work on that. So I would recommend poking through on that. That's nothing I have personal experience with, but I've heard of several people using his tools to do that.
There's even some other people kind of saying a similar thing.
Yeah.
Down here.
Let's see. So XBMC Mods for Xbox is asking here, have you seen this topic on OG Xbox? It is the Ryzen 199 OG X360 product is now supporting 8-bit DOE controllers and such. I have not seen that. That's actually, do you remember a few months ago when we talked about the OG X360 and I asked about getting one of those?
I'm blanking on what it was.
It is the little Arduino setup that allows you to hook up wireless Xbox 360 controllers to the original Xbox.
Yes.
I got one of those, and it is fucking awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I have nothing but positive things to say about it. I don't have any videos on it yet or anything. I would like to make one in the future. I'm not giving it ETA or anything on it because I haven't even recorded footage. But so far, the thing is awesome.
Yeah, I definitely remember this now, looking at the GitHub here. But yeah, so it supports, I guess, third-party 8-bit DOE commercial controllers, which I've got
I
a
didn't
couple
even know
of
about
those.
that. I know that it was what is it? I know that it was not the. It was Xbox One controllers. It was starting to have support for, but I didn't know about the 8-bit DOE thing. So that's news to me. Cool.
Jakey Nader, are you worried about Nintendo demonetizing any of the videos like they did with MVG? I'm guessing around the Nintendo Switch related stuff.
Sure. I would say no, because I don't have any 3DS related videos on the channel anymore. And any videos that we do covering the Switch or the 3DS are news based. They're not tutorials, they're not how-tos, they're not showcases or anything. So, I mean, the closest we've really gotten, and I guess we'll see what happens, but the closest we've gotten was showing, the damn DVD logo on this right here. This is the closest I've ever gotten to any, real, like actually real Switch-based content on the channel. So, I'm personally not worried about that because I just don't really cover it. And then again, like the systems I do cover, really, if I'm covering Nintendo systems, it's generally their older stuff, so which they don't care about. They don't care about older hardware, I should say.
Now, is part of that because of the past experience that you had with getting your 3DS related videos taken down?
Yeah, because of 3DS, I said, you know what, that's it. I'm out on here. And then I knew that they were going to go hard on Switch. So I'm just like, based on my experience, I'm like, nope, I'm going to get out. If I do 3DS stuff, I mean, if I do another video in regards to it, I would like to do a video covering how to mod the 3DS once it is like dead, end of life, and methods aren't changing.
Yep.
Like I can make a video and be like, here is the video on how to mod your 3DS. This is good for the next 5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably a safe bet.
Yeah. So that's the problem with it too, dude. I was uploading videos and they would get immediately outdated, even slightly, just because of how fast the scene was going.
And I could definitely understand that. And it goes both ways too in terms of making content. But like, I would not trust looking up a video. You know what I mean? Like, I would, knowing what I know, I would not want to look up a video for a lot of that stuff, even now on the Switch, because a lot of it is just going to be outdated so quickly. You might as well go to the source, go to the forums, go to even like Reddit.
So I will say this, shout out to Modded Warfare. I'm sure many people who are watching here are familiar with his channel, but I had seen that he uploaded a video. He's redoing some of his Switch tutorials, and he did one saying how to modify the Switch using free custom firmware, how to install Atmosphere on it. And I followed that video and it was good, but the problem is even that video was outdated within a day or two. And it's not a knock to him, but like, for example, he says, okay, we're going to install Cosmos, but Cosmos hasn't been updated with the latest Atmosphere. So we're going to install Cosmos and then manually put in the newest Atmosphere. But by the time I watched the video, it was already updated with the latest Atmosphere. Right. So I'm like, well, even though this video is good, it's already outdated just by definition. So yeah, that is a good look for the scene, thankfully, that it's just going by so quickly, but you know, it's just it can be dangerous to follow, you know, an outdated tutorial at times.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, do you have something on there? Oh, a thing and stuff. I will say, if you are looking for Switch stuff, this guy and I, we haven't even corresponded or anything, but I actually recently subscribed to him just because I saw a few of his videos, and even if I didn't follow them, I really enjoyed them. I don't know how to say his name. This dude is from Indonesia, so he has a thick accent, but you can still understand his English quite well. But this guy here, I do want to give him a shout out. Devin, how the hell would you say this guy's name? Aesthetics?
Aesthetics.
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 Aesthetics?
Kind of like...
Aesthetics. Okay.
Get it?
Yeah. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him because he only has 20,000 subscribers or so. His videos are so good. And this one thing I thought was funny. So checking this out here, dumping your very own Nintendo Switch games. Do you see what he did?
Scrambled.
Looks like he's trying to dump some Japanese porn from his Nintendo Switch.
It does kind of.
To buy, he completely, on the video, he censors any images of the games and any of the names of the games on here. I thought that was really funny.
Well, it's also a good way to protect himself.
It is.
Right?
I mean, because technically Nintendo is content IDing that, so with that, it's a workaround. But I thought that was really funny. But big shout out to this guy. I've very much enjoyed his videos. So if you're looking for some good Switch-related stuff, check him out.
Learn how to take a dump on your games. Yes.
Yeah, a nice pixelated dump.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
Well, questions are light this month, guys. So definitely try and get some more in here if anybody has some questions they want answered or just something to quickly chat about.
Come on.
It's definitely getting late in the day for us. So.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look.
But hey, we do have Jason here. He's even saying, "What's up, guys? Sorry I missed out most of the stream. I have to rewatch the rest. Really long day. I feel that, but thank you for coming out, Jason. We gave you some very kind words, and we shouted y'all out. So.
Shouts out.
Yeah, shouts out to my boy. There's one person, 1Jig, is saying, "Hey guys, I picked up a Wii U and will mod it ASAP. Pretty cool that you can run GameCube games in a hypervisor and use a HID program to use PS3 controllers. Even though that's not a question, that is really cool."
Yeah. Agreed.
So
yeah, I saw that and I wondered if I should bring it up, but I was looking for some other things. So Is GPD emulation worth the hype? I haven't got my hands on it. I haven't seen any
Same.
demos, but like I think, I'm sure these days it's probably plenty capable. If you run it on Linux, then you're saving a lot of resources just from your OS, and so hopefully it would be nice to, do something like a RetroPie setup, like I had mentioned. I think that would be really cool, and I would definitely be interested in playing around with it if I could.
For sure.
That's the route I would go.
Yeah.
It is a bummer now, though. Maybe not a bummer, but like the Switch is getting to be such a good emulation machine that's like what my dream has been for so long.
Just set up the ideal Switch emulation machine.
Take it on the go, on the TV. Don't have to like manage multiple save states.
Hell yeah. No, that'd be nice. I think there was one person. There was one I was seeing here, and I'm looking. No, it was. It wasn't a question. I was thinking it was, but it wasn't. Damn.
PSP or 3DS? Sky says.
PSP.
Yeah,
man.
It's the OG. It's the nostalgia.
I'm so biased, but I mean
Yeah.
PSP, baby.
It's where we both really. That's not where I started, but that was where like I felt like I thrived the most in the scene. I was really keeping up with everything as quick as I could for like years on end. You know what I mean? Like for a long time. And
It's still a fantastic handheld, even in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend saw my PSP and she was like, "This is mine now," and I was like,
"Oh, do you need another PSP to give to her? Because I have.
I wish.
I
should.
No, I have mini
gosh.
floating around.
Yeah, maybe that would. Ooh, gosh, I hope she's.
No, for real. Hit me up if you're interested. I'll hook you up, dude.
Hopefully, she's not watching this. But yeah, that'd be kind of a cool.
If
gift
she's
idea.
watching, hey, Devin's girlfriend, if you want a PSP, just let him know. He can talk with me
But
about
it'd be
it.
sweet to get it all hacked up and get a bunch of, you know what I mean?
I'll give you just the hardware by itself. I'll be all like, here's the battery, here's the charger, here's the system, here's a memory card. You hack it up. So I can either give it to you hacked or unhacked.
I want to put in the effort.
Okay.
There's love in that hacking.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just imported some from Japan. They were cheap. They were
Nice.
like $30.
Nice, dude.
I know.
Oh,
It was so dangerous.
This is a fun idea. Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. Tristan, he's asking here, what are you doing for 100,000? I sort of know, but do you want to go in detail on that? If not, no problem. I will say Tristan is one of the people who is involved. Dev and I've asked for your involvement.
Which I need to get to before I go on vacation.
Yes, if you could, that'd be awesome. I'm having several friends and friends of the channel participate in it, and that's all I'm going to say. I've had this idea in my head for a while, and I think the only thing I'll hint at is it might cause me to hit 100,000 twice. I almost have a feeling people are going to unsubscribe, and it'd be really funny if I go under 100,000 and then hit it again because of this.
So we're going to have to talk about it. So as long as you... Yeah, or well, I guess we can talk after.
We can talk afterwards.
Yeah.
I got Tristan's submission.
Yeah.
So.
All I'm gonna say is that my apartment is still messy, trying to get things set up. So
I understand,
but I don't know. Yeah. That's. I'll leave it at that.
All good. Oh man.
See, James here is your Switch on 3.0 or 6.2. I thought there was a way to dual NAND it.
Mine?
I'm guessing yours.
Mine is 6.2 on both SXOS EmuNAND and stock. I don't care about the I don't care about the eFuses all that much, and it's just like, look, I don't have auto RCM on there, so
I
set
do,
up both.
but I made sure to turn it off every time.
Nice.
So it's not just sitting there dying.
Yep. So yeah, although you can avoid that if you actually like boot into a payload and shut off from the payload. Yeah, so that's how you bypass that. XBMC Mods for Xbox is asking, is it worth the while to get into Switch modding? Because I'm debating on modding it. Because I have 2 Switches, because I don't know yet. Dude, if you have 2 Switches, mod one.
I would say for sure.
So yes.
Easy answer.
Yeah, very easy answer.
Are y'all getting excited for Mortal Kombat 11 on the 23rd? No.
I'm not a regular Mortal Kombat
I'm
player,
not
unfortunately.
either.
I used to play it a good amount in like elementary school. Like I played like 1 through 4 a lot, and then I just fell out of love with it.
I tell you what, I was never that into it. Street Fighter was never that into it. I played a little bit of
I
Marvel
liked Street Fighter quite. I think the biggest fighting game I got into is Tekken. I really liked
actually,
the Tekken games.
I did like Tekken, but it was really like getting into Smash Brothers that made me feel like I felt like the restraints were lifted off fighting games. I'm not a person to like really remember combos, and I think part of it's because I'm such a casual gamer. But
I understand.
I love the fact that like I can give someone a controller in Smash that's never played it, and sometimes they beat me just because of how goofy and weird they act, and like that's not possible on Mortal Kombat.
The most embarrassing thing for us, I remember, was our homie, our mutual homie. You remember we had the game day and he came to hang out with us. Yeah, this dude, we were playing Smash on Switch here. I had a Pro controller. Devin, you had a Pro controller, right?
Yep.
This dude didn't just play with the Joy-Cons.
He had a single Joy-Con.
He wanted to play with a single Joy-Con because that's his preferred method of playing Smash.
Voluntarily.
He kicked our asses hard, like 98% of the time.
I was about to say, I think every once in a while one of us would get a
Every once in a while because it's Smash, but this dude was kicking our asses with one Joy-Con.
I literally forgot he was doing that too. And at the end of the night when we started to like pack up, I was like, hold up, wait, you're still playing with one Joy-Con. He's just like, oh yeah, I like it. You know, it's comfortable. I'm like, no.
Yeah, because even the thing is with it too, we were looking at it because I think in the end you even realize you're like, wait, I knew that you were playing with Joy-Con, but I just assumed you were playing with both. But you were playing with one. He's like, yeah, no, it's fine, dude. Yeah, he's just like a savant with Smash or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah,
it's scary to imagine him getting good with a full-size controller.
I know. It's kind of like it reminds me of a story I had read online before where there was one guy. I think these guys were in Germany, but they knew each other online, and they were playing, I want to say like Quake or Doom or something. And let's just say it was Quake for this example. And one dude just had like kind of a shitty PC, and he had to play in like, I don't know, like a postage stamp almost just to play. And he was a good player. But then they ended up, one of the members of this clan sent him a new graphics card, and all of a sudden he could play in full screen at much higher fidelity, much higher frame rate, and instantly he became just the boss of the game and was better than everyone else. And they realized, they're like, oh my God, because he was on such a shitty setup, he had to compensate and learn all these things and pay attention. And now all of a sudden, because his restriction is no longer the specs of his PC, he's a god at this game.
Yep.
Yeah, because previously he got so good that what was holding him back was his PC.
I could believe it.
Man.
I do not want him to get really good using a GameCube controller. That sounds terrifying.
Oh my God. It'd be scary.
Are you down to hammer through just like a couple more of these?
Sure. Let's take 2 more questions.
Let's see.
And I'll round it out to about 2 hours.
I won't count this one. I'll make it quick. What's your guys' favorite Switch game? And I'll say Smash Ultimate. Followed by Pokemon Let's Go. But I think Smash Ultimate edges that out just a little bit.
Damn, I really have to think about that. What is my favorite Switch game? I've really liked Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think maybe my favorite, just because it was such a surprise to me, because these are 2 games that I don't play at all. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I don't like strategy games like XCOM. I'm not crazy about Rabbids. But the game was fantastic.
I've heard this so many times.
Yeah, I think it's probably between that and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was also incredible.
Yeah.
But I'm going to lean more towards Mario plus Rabbids because that's a console exclusive. Technically, Breath of the Wild you can play on Wii U.
True.
Yeah.
Real quick, Sky asked, did you guys see Windows 10 booting on the Switch? We did. We mentioned that briefly.
We did. And that's about all we know.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I think it wasn't Windows 10 IoT?
It was Windows 10 for ARM, yeah.
ARM,
which is used for like IoT related stuff. But
cool.
I believe it's officially Windows 10 for ARM. Used originally on like the Raspberry Pi and stuff.
For sure.
Okay, like how about one more here from XBMC Mods for Xbox?
Sure.
One more question for you guys. Have you seen the sub wireless adapter for PS Classic Edition? If not, what are your thoughts on it?
I want to say he's talking about, it's essentially this little USB adapter that you plug in, and it allows you to sync up a wireless PS4 controller or any other controllers to it. And I think if you like sync up a PS4 controller, you can press one of the buttons and you can instantly access, the escape menu.
8-Bit Doe has them here on
so
their
it's
website.
by 8-Bit Doe. All right, cool.
And I'm guessing, sub wireless. I'm guessing he did mean USB wireless adapter.
Okay, 8-Bit. Oh, let me bring it up on screen here for everyone. This will be the last question again.
Yeah.
But damn it, open up a new tab. Come on. 8-Bit Doe PS Classic.
I did not.
I've seen it. I don't really have much of an inkling to get it.
But it's got like a button to get into the menu or whatever.
It does, yeah. It allows you to just access that menu if you don't mod your system, which is cool. But yeah, this is... Let me show it here.
Wow.
So that's what it looks like. It looks just like a giant gray brick sticking out of there. And you could really sync up almost any Bluetooth controller. So you could sync up, of course, the PS4 controller. And then it shows all these other controllers here, which are compatible. I mean, I think this is cool. Don't get me wrong. Hey, what's up, Lily? I can't pick her up. She might shit again.
Yeah. That was...
Also, on top of that, I had a blood draw today, so they told me don't do any strenuous lifting. But yeah, no, I mean, this is cool. Would I spend $20 on it? Probably not.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. But I'm not going to completely dismiss it.
Yeah, not a ripoff, but, you know, I don't think I have much of a need for it either. I still haven't even unboxed mine.
Now, I do have, check this out, I did get the Switch GameCube wireless adapter. Do you know about that?
Not the wireless one.
8BitDo released a wireless one, and the problem is you need one for every Switch controller. So, with every controller. So if you want to have 4 GameCube controllers, you need to buy 4 of them. They're like $20, and it's a Bluetooth adapter that hooks up to your Switch, and then you take your GameCube controller and wire it to this adapter. Yeah, so it's cool. I haven't Where the hell is this? No, Lily, come here. Don't go over there. What's up, Lily? I just didn't want her to go over there. You remember that one time where she just crossed over and disconnected everything?
Yeah.
That was not on the show. So for anybody who's saying, oh, I don't remember that, it's because she did that right before the show.
Right.
Yeah. She's a funny dog. She does shit like that. Like something I'll never see her do. All of a sudden, 2 years in, she surprises me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I mean, that's cool. That's neat. Maybe one day I'll get bored and investigate it and try and get one of those things. Because, I mean, $20 isn't too much to spend.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, for sure.
Anyways,
I do want to say one thing. I'll just kind of comment on this. Someone saying you guys should have a giveaway. Actually, there's not really a proper way for me to do that anymore. Unfortunately, with the way YouTube has cracked down on giveaways, they're trying to kind of... It was quite a recent change. They're pretty much classifying giveaways into scams and spam and...
wow. Was not aware.
Illegitimately boosting growth to your channel. So there's pretty much a very narrow way that you can get away with doing a giveaway on YouTube now. But it's just so narrow, and we're like, you know what? I don't even do giveaways on the channel. I'm not saying I've never done them. I've done a few of them, and they've been so rare. But at this point, it's so rare that I do giveaways. I'm like, you know what? It's not even worth trying to figure out all the verbiage and do it properly just to, avoid getting a strike. I do like one giveaway every few years. I'm just going to do none. So, no, I don't know. Like, maybe if I ever do one, I'll really just have to do it on social media, stick to like Twitter and Instagram, but it wouldn't be on YouTube, unfortunately. It's just, I really risk a strike now. Before it was just personal preference.
Understandable, yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, should we go ahead and wrap things up?
Let's wrap this up, man.
This was a good show.
This was a good episode. Yeah.
There's hardly any bad ones.
That's true.
Except for when the stream messes up.
Exactly.
But they're still good. And
so far, we've had 2 back-to-back, which, by the way, to everyone saying this, I still don't know how to properly cut off the stream. Everyone who joins in live, they're just like, he cut off the end. But here's the thing. All the video file gets to YouTube, so when you watch the video on YouTube after the stream is processed, the entire stream is there.
Maybe we should just like stare at the camera for like 30 seconds awkwardly and then wait and then shut it off. But yeah. I don't know. It's weird, but I mean, all things considered, we've got a lot of stuff going on, so it's nice that it's at least going as smooth as it is.
That's true. Yeah, it's all been good. And again, my PC, because I repasted it, it's not turning into a jet engine anymore, which is great.
Quiet. It's real nice.
Yeah. So anyways, where can people find you online, Devin?
Like always, best place is Twitter, Paranoid Coder, YouTube. I'll eventually, especially once I get set up in my new place, it's been a hectic last few months. I can't believe we're already like a third of the way into the year.
I know,
which
man.
Blows my mind.
I'm surprised we're over halfway done with April, man.
Yeah. So
this just flashed. Damn you, week of Xbox.
Yeah. I haven't made a video since December, but I've got some ideas planned. I've got some updates I want to make on some previous videos, and like we were just talking about at the beginning of the show, would love to talk about my Hackintosh experience at some point.
Hell yeah. And if you need any help with your videos, let me know too. I certainly don't mind.
You want to edit everything for me?
Yeah, seems easy enough. Your videos are pretty easy to edit.
Yeah.
So.
It was a joke, but yeah, they're pretty low maintenance.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, what about you, man?
You can find me pretty much all over social media and such. My main ones, of course, I have a Discord, which is linked down below in the description if you're checking this out on YouTube. If you want to listen to this podcast, we're available on most major podcasting platforms. If you want to watch it, of course, it is available on the YouTube channel, Mr. Mario 2011. If you want to join in on the stream, again, we do our announcements sometime in the middle of the month, normally on Wednesday. So if you want to join in, that'd be fantastic. But if you just want to watch, that's fine as well, too. As for anything else, I'm Mr. Mario 2011 on Instagram, Twitter. I'd say if you just want to talk or something, Instagram and Discord are generally the best places to get a hold of me, where I like to hang out there and such. I have a lot of people that try and DM me on Instagram, and I absolutely hate Instagram DMs. So just don't use it as a tool at all. So if you're trying to DM me or ask me for help on there, you're kind of shouting into a space.
Hey, you heard that Facebook's trying to merge Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp?
Could we not? No.
All in one.
Could we just not?
I can't wait for the drove of people leaving WhatsApp and coming to Telegram. It's gonna happen.
That would be nice. What event happened, Devin, that caused a lot of people to... What was it when Facebook went out for a day?
Yes.
A ton of people joined Telegram?
Yep.
I remember you told me about that, and I was like, that makes me so happy.
Yeah. I like Telegram a lot. I think it's a nice service for what it is. But yeah, the idea of Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp all being
that's just
in the
too
same
much.
app. Yeah. We've seen what they've done to Messenger, even when they try and clean it up. It's not pretty.
I don't, because I don't use it. Just fuck Facebook. And
get ready for stories in your WhatsApp.
No.
Anyways,
no.
Wrapping up. Thank you guys for watching. This has been an awesome show. It was an awesome chat.
It has been. And Devin, here's one thing, actually. To anybody who has listened or watched all the way to the end, I want to do a keyword. On YouTube, if you comment with this keyword, we're going to know that you watch or listen to the end. But what keyword should we use?
Aesthetic.
Aesthetic?
Yeah.
Aesthetic, like AESTHETIC?
However they can get it out there.
Yeah, aesthetic. So if you use aesthetic, if you want to talk about the vaporwave aesthetic and how it's kind of died down for a bit, or what your aesthetic of clothing is, or the aesthetics of this nice DVD menu on the Switch, which isn't displaying right now, but
it's gone to sleep.
I know, because it's technically running in the album. So who's gonna look at an album for 10 minutes?
Grandma could use that.
True. They made a whole... there was a whole industry of that for, the little
the
screen
digital
things. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Digital picture frames.
Yes. Yeah. Anyways, I think we're good here. This is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, listening, and tuning in, everyone. And until next month.
See you guys later.